Good evening. The meeting for the Winthrop Town Council for April 1st, 2014 is now called to order. Would you all please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance? Councilor Barone, would you lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please remain standing? We'll take a moment of silence for the firefighters who sacrificed their lives in the city of Boston last week, as well as one of our committee members here in Winthrop, Bob Gadbois, who passed away very suddenly about 2 weeks ago. So if we could have a moment of silence for those people, please. Thank you. As I think probably everybody in the hall knows, we have a presentation tonight by Mohegan Sun to outline their proposal for what they would like to do at Suffolk Downs if they're granted a license. Before we proceed, I would like to ask the council clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Callow, present. Councilor Sanford?
Here.
Councilor Boncory?
Here.
Councilor Barone?
Here.
Councilor Thierry?
Here.
Councilor Boyajian?
Here.
Councilor Mayo? Vice President Del Vento?
Here.
President Gill?
Present.
Thank you.
Before the presentation, Speaker DeLeo is here, and he has another commitment, but he was good enough to come and spend a few minutes with us tonight. So without further ado, I'd like to call Speaker DeLeo up to the front of the hall to address the crowd.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for allowing me to speak here this evening. For the record, my name is Bob DeLeo, and I am Winthrop State Representative. I come before you tonight in this public forum to offer my thoughts relative to the issue of mitigation for the town of Winthrop that I believe is owed to this community if a casino is granted at Suffolk Downs. First and foremost, thank you very much, I want to state that I don't believe that the current mitigation offer on the table is going to cut it. But before I get to that, I want to take just a minute to talk about the provisions of the 2011 expanded gaming bill that relate to communities that abut host communities, so-called surrounding communities. When the gaming bill passed in 2011, I insisted on requiring that casino licensees negotiate not only with the host communities, but also with abutting communities as well. This requirement is fairly unique among other states and regions, where generally it's only the host community which is compensated. We are not here tonight to debate the merits of the casinos themselves, but it suffices to say that I know then and now that casinos can affect a larger region than simply the municipality where they are sited. And while this language is not specific to Winthrop, I can assure you that I had Winthrop in mind when we wrote it. For this reason, it's both distressing and ironic that the one community which is having the most trouble negotiating a fair deal for surrounding community mitigation is the community that put the need for it on the radar screen in the very first place. So now we come to a point where we have to evaluate what a fair and reasonable agreement is between the applicant, in this case Mohegan Sun, and Winthrop. We are a peninsula with only 2 roads, in and out. We have no medical facilities, and many people commute to work every day to points outside our community. Moreover, I know, and I do not have the records nor does the council yet of a study which is to be provided to us with evidence of the impacts of transportation, housing, economic development, and public safety. I am confident that this analysis will show that Winthrop needs far exceed the current offer. I am asking the folks at Mohegan Sun to go back to the table with the town, to work out a real mitigation offer that treats Winthrop the way it should be treated, and to recognize that the people of this town deserve to be compensated. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
See what happens after I speak?
Good control. I guess part of the mitigation package is no electricity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have the lights back, please?
Do we know the lights at?
Well, there is no intention to keep everybody in the dark, but anyway. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Winthrop Town Council meeting this evening and for the presentation by the Mohegan Sun regarding their proposed casino at Suffolk Downs. As we all know, the Mohegan Sun has applied for a license to operate a casino at Suffolk Downs. Knowing that many of us have serious concerns with regards to the proposed casino and its effects on our community, Mohegan Sun has requested the opportunity to address us, the citizens and residents of Winthrop, to discuss their proposal. The purpose of tonight's meeting is for us, the residents of Winthrop, to hear Mohegan Sun's presentation and for Mohegan to hear our concerns of the impacts that the proposed project will have on our community and our residents. We are all aware that the town of Winthrop has no legal status to determine whether or not this license is granted by the Gaming Commission. However, as a prerequisite to the Commission granting a license, the applicant, Mohegan Sun, and the town of Winthrop, which has now been officially designated as a quote surrounding community by the Gaming Commission, must attempt to negotiate a mitigation package. If the town of Winthrop and Mohegan cannot come up with the terms on a mitigation agreement, an arbitrator appointed by the Gaming Commission will decide the terms of the agreement. We in Winthrop, as we know, are surrounded by challenges. Logan Airport, MWRA, and the Atlantic Ocean. We're well aware of the surrounding issues that affect our quality of life and of the philosophy of mitigation that goes with these. If Mohegan Sun is granted a license, we must be sure that we are justly compensated for the quality of life issues that we may face. Mohegan Sun needs to hear us and understand our concerns as to the impact on our hometown. Mohegan needs to seriously deal with the concerns of our residents for the future of our community. We all know, everybody sitting in this room, that over the last several months, this has become an emotional issue. Unfortunately, we're dealing with another emotional issue on the other end of town. So what I would like to say is that tonight's meeting, tonight's forum, will not deal with our right to vote on a casino. We know that we don't have that right. But to determine if there will be a casino, where will our mitigation package come from and what will it be? I would ask tonight that, yes, anybody who wants to speak and express their opinion for the casino or opposed to the casino will have the opportunity to do that. But I ask that, although we have no say, and you will have the opportunity, I would ask that we all do it in a good, proper decorum. To the Mohegan Sun people, I want to introduce you to Winthrop. Winthrop is a unique community. When you have the opportunity, before you leave tonight, take a look at the pictures of who we are. We are a beautiful, residential, seaside community with very committed residents, lots of whom have recently moved here, and lots of us who have been here for longer than we want to admit, including being born in Winthrop Hospital. Look at where we sit in relationship to Mohegan Sun. Sort of the format for tonight is that we'll have Mohegan Sun make their presentation. They have a PowerPoint slide presentation that they'll make up here. And we ask that their presentation be about the details of the proposed Mohegan Sun development. Whatever they see as positive and negative effects, not on the region, but on Winthrop, on the community that is surrounding and surrounded. We ask that they not make any specific comments on the negotiation process or on the mitigation package. We ask that as citizens we hold our comments and our questions until they've finished, at which point we'll go into a public comment period. On the public comment period, I'll outline how we're going to do that so we don't all forget between now and then. But so at this point I'd like to introduce Mohegan Sun. Allison, let's come down to the floor so we can...
I cannot see my notes. Do they all go off at once? Okay. That could be a problem. I can't see where I'm at. Oh, the cell phone's on it. Yeah, I don't have it either. It's back there. Can you see it well enough with the...
Yeah, can we have the lights back on, please?
Wait, that first version.
Just the sides, can we get? Even that's not bad.
Can everyone in the back see that?
John, can we have partial light? Just one set of lights? Oh,
it's only one switch.
is it only one switch? Can we see that in the back with the lights on? Can everybody see the screen? Okay, better with the lights than without? Okay, we'll leave the lights on.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Council President Gill. I appreciate that very much. I want to thank the council tonight, members of the Winthrop Council, our community leaders, our distinguished guests, members of the public, and those of you who are viewing possibly a streaming version of this tonight. I also would like to thank Council President Gill and the Town Council for accepting our request to make this presentation tonight. It's my hope that you will find it both informative as well as stimulating, and I know we will get some questions at the end, and we look forward to having some dialogue. I also would like to respond to the speaker, and I promise you that we will negotiate honestly and responsibly. It's the kind of company that I believe we are, and we will act in good faith. Our formal presentation tonight is about 25 to 30 minutes. I'll try to keep to that schedule. We hope to tell you a little bit about Mohegan Sun. We hope to tell you a little bit about our philosophy, our approach to business, our approach to this project in Revere. Embedded in the presentation, there are several videos that are 2 to 4 minutes each, so where I'm not speaking about part of the presentation, hopefully our video will further explain the kind of company that we are. When this legislation was crafted in Massachusetts, we believed from the beginning that Mohegan Sun is an incredibly good choice. We not only have the greatest hospitality experience in New England, with the greatest service levels that are first class and they're world class. We not only have a world-class destination resort facility that we've constructed, that we've expanded, and I think those of you who have been to the resort in Connecticut may attest to that. But we have also uniquely, I think, met the spirit of the legislation that was crafted in Massachusetts by holding ourselves out as a very outward-facing, community-integrated kind of business. That's what we hope to bring to Revere. That's what we hope to bring to our surrounding communities. And that's what I hope you will see from our neighbors where we currently operate.
We like to be part of the community. We like to weave ourselves into the fabric of society. And it oftentimes isn't about making the decision that makes the most money or the most return. It's often about making the decision that's right.
They put a lot of money into our existing infrastructure there to be able to handle their needs, but it also provided excess capacity for the town.
One of the larger first projects that we were involved with was the wastewater treatment and regional expansion in the area, and that involved a major utility upgrade. Today, 7 municipalities are connected to this regional water resource that they otherwise would have not had.
There's no company in northeastern Pennsylvania that is more engaged in our community on a day-to-day basis than Mohegan Sun.
The ripple effect that Mohegan Sun had in our community goes way beyond Wilkes-Barre and Luzerne County. Sure, it's Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs, but it's the region's Mohegan Sun.
We've seen additional economic development dollars come into our area based on people from outside the area coming in.
There's 5 hotels now being built or have been built in recent years.
There's new restaurants and new nightlife. So I think it's definitely revitalizing the entire valley.
It has a huge ripple effect on the entire business community in Eastern Connecticut. At least a half dozen new hotels that went up in the last few years. We have dozens of new restaurants and lots of support type of businesses that grew up along with the Sun.
Whether they're in Connecticut or in Pennsylvania or in Massachusetts or anywhere else in this country, they want to be a part of the local economy. And we saw that right off the bat with their professionals.
It's very unique for an organization this large to really truly have the local relationships that they do. They don't separate themselves from the community, they become part of the community.
The door's always open at Mohegan Sun. Someone answers the phone, they don't send you down a maze. If we call them and say we need help with this event or that event, they're there.
Something that shouldn't be left unsaid, the support for the social service community around here is enormous.
What I saw was great integrity.
Their position on the crime of drunk driving is first and foremost what's important to Mothers Against Drunk Driving. When I first met with the CEO, Mitchell Edis, he literally walked me through the procedure that they take for folks that they think have had too much to drink.
When we provide help to adults who have serious gambling problems, we're helping not only the family but the community. Mohegan Sun clearly is at the top of the small group that takes this problem very seriously and has provided lots of support and clearly recognizes that problem in underage gambling is serious and wants to help combat it.
Come and visit northeastern Pennsylvania and see the true impact that Mohegan Sun has had on our community, our people, on our nonprofits, and our charities, and on our overall region. It has been very positive, and it's something that you just have to see it to believe it.
During the Revolutionary War, Samuel Ashbow, a Mohegan tribal member, fought at the rail fence at Bunker Hill, and he gave his life there. And so the strategic partnership of citizens of the Commonwealth with the Mohegan tribe, it dates back a lot further than the last couple of months of work that we've put together to bring the casino to Revere. We are a part of this community of Connecticut, this community of New England, and the community of Boston and Revere.
So we are a company that does not just talk the talk. We care about the social capital, vitality of the communities in which we live and work, and we care about it because we live and work there. We raise our families there, we send our children to school there. It's a very important part of our organization. We are more like a community in the way we operate our business than we are a corporation. We hold ourselves to very high ethical standards. We invest in programs that elevate the quality of life. And I think this slide is supposed to show that, if I can get it to work. There we go. It's in our best interest. Because we live, because we work in the communities in which we operate, it's very important to us to make that kind of community investment. We're driven by our core values. We have 4 core values, and one of those is certainly bottom line performance. We do have obligations to our investors. We have obligations to our bankers. But we will not sacrifice a little extra profit being squeezed out of an organization if it means compromising our values. Our other core values: blow away the customer. We're an extraordinary company when it comes to hospitality and service. Continuously strive for perfection. That's how we think about our business. And lastly, develop dedicated and passionate employees. And that speaks to the kind of community environment that we like to foster. By the way, I want to back up for just a minute because I got a little discombobulated at the beginning of this presentation without any lights on my notes. But I wanted to introduce myself just for a second and our Mohegan Sun team over here. My name is Gary Luderitz. I'm Vice President for Operations and Development at Mohegan Sun. With me tonight is Chip Tuttle, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Suffolk Downs. John Stefanini, he's our guide and advisor with DLA Piper out of Boston. And I will be available to answer any questions that you might have at the end of this presentation. But I needed to rewind just a bit there, and I thank you for your indulgence. Yes? Yes, I am getting a little trouble getting it over here, but can you hear me in the back okay? No, you cannot. To turn myself a bit. Here, it goes underneath that way. Okay, that's good. Thank you. So this project will provide significant jobs, 2,500 construction jobs. And one of the things that we've developed in the course of developing this project is an excellent relationship with labor. These icons on the screen show the organizations that we've been working with to make sure that labor has a good involvement in this project. We've encouraged great labor relations. We have agreements already in place that walk the walk. And this project has received unprecedented and unparalleled support from labor in the form of PLA agreements, in the form of memorandums of understanding, in the form of letters of support. We're proud of that. This project is going to provide operating jobs when the facility opens, 4,000 operating jobs, 75% of which will be coming from within 15 miles of Revere. And of course, we'll have a hiring preference locally for Revere and for our surrounding communities. We estimate an annual compensation, including fringe benefits, of about $56,000. And I want to stop for a second and just talk about, the casino resort destination model typically pays a higher wage than a typical hospitality model. And that's because high technology that we have in the organization, it's because of our gaming operation, it's because of our sophisticated finance operation, our marketing operations, and our very sophisticated and highly regulated regulatory environment that we work in. We're committing $40 to $50 million in infrastructure and transportation improvements. More than 15 separate traffic and transportation improvements. All of these are funded privately by Mohegan Sun. In our outward-facing model, we propose to spend $10 million a year in goods and services in Revere, $50 million a year in a 15-mile radius. And we're also introducing our Momentum program, which is a very unique program to the industry. Quite frankly, to the best of our knowledge, it doesn't exist anywhere in the country, perhaps nowhere in the world. And it's an opportunity for a program where our patrons come into the casino, they earn rewards, and we anticipate somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 8 million visitors a year, and they will earn rewards, and those rewards, for the first time anywhere, will be available to be spent out in the community, redeemed at participating businesses, just as though they were cash. We have about 200 businesses who have signed letters of interest for this program, including some right here in Revere. Yes, including some right here in Winthrop. Thank you. Surrounding communities. We have been working with surrounding communities to craft agreements, and we now have 8 surrounding community agreements established. We are still negotiating terms with 4, including Winthrop. But as I said at the beginning of my presentation, this is something that we have done and will continue to do honestly and responsibly and faithfully. And we will certainly do that in our continuing discussions with Winthrop. We're a company that takes responsibility. We are not your typical corporation. We are a community, and that's the way we function. Part of our outward-facing approach is to take responsibility for the business that we are in. Starting with responsible gaming. We're an industry leader in fair and safe gaming. Starting with supporting and tracking voluntary self-exclusion for folks who believe they've gotten themselves into some trouble. We're one of the 4 founding members of the Massachusetts Partnership for Responsible Gambling. We've been involved with the Massachusetts Council on Compulsive Gambling for the last 13 years. And in addition to that, we have supported and we continue to support programs, a variety of programs, nationally, at the state level, and in multiple states, and at the local level. Our responsible gambling plan outlines 24 different gaming policies, including introduction at the site in Revere of self-assessment, mini counseling kiosks, right on the property. And as to alcohol consumption, no enterprise in the Commonwealth that serves alcohol as part of its entertainment devotes more training, more resources to ensure that such service is provided safely and responsibly than Mohegan Sun. And we will continue to honor that commitment. Our patrons will enjoy themselves, but they will be closely monitored through our service policies to avoid intoxication. And if someone has had too much to drink, we will make sure that they get home safely. We will provide that transportation, and we will require it. As to the environment, we are environmentally responsible, and we will achieve LEED Gold or better for this project. Now, what does that mean? Some of you might ask. The United States Green Building Council grades commercial projects on a combination of energy efficiency and environmental care. Based on this grading system, Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts will be graded as a gold status and is very close to achieving platinum status, which is the highest grade that the Green Council provides. We endeavor to become the highest graded casino destination resort in the nation, with features like an on-site greenhouse that will provide produce directly from our greenhouse on the roof to our restaurants in the facility. That one of the things that does, in addition to providing fresh produce, is it minimizes the amount of trucks that have to arrive at the property on a daily basis. We have developed a plan for photovoltaic solar panel lights that will help support the energy needs that we have at the property. We will have some extraordinary stormwater management measures that will not only protect attributes like Sales Creek and the wetlands and Belle Isle Marsh, but actually enhance it with new native plantings and similar approach. This is the right project, and we believe in the right place. It's not only a world-class project, but it can be developed in an area that has great promise of opportunity. Of course, right next door in Revere, like Winthrop, it already has a historical resort character, has an opportunity for growth. It has a location. It's highly accessible, right at the foot of the Massachusetts Turnpike, easily accessible from 93 and 95, easily accessible from the north on Route 1, and regionally from 1A. And what'd I say? Huh.
Gary, can we kind of try to focus on Winthrop instead of Revere and stuff surrounding?
Indeed. And it's conveniently located. The T, as you all know, will link us all to Boston. We believe this provides us as a bridge to the North Shore community in general. When a group or convention comes to Boston, for example, we will become part of the experience. Our extensive on-site awareness program at the site will create a new understanding of what the North Shore and places all along the North Shore have to offer, including businesses and attractions. It's an added opportunity to enhance growth and improve commerce. We also think we are the right employer. We hire in our guest service strategy like our business depends on it, because it does. We train from the heart. We provide an outstanding work environment, and we protect the culture that we've worked so hard to achieve. Now, toward that end, we thought a video from our team would speak a little bit more about our staff.
The employees are the success of the Mohegan Sun.
One of our 4 core values is developing dedicated and passionate employees, and we take that very seriously, and it's really paid off. And we've seen the careers of so many people blossom.
You've got to create a culture where 11,000 people enjoy coming to work. I would say it's the most essential part of our business.
What I found at Mohegan was a home, a family.
I've never seen the camaraderie that I experience on a day-to-day basis with Mohegan Sun. They take care of us. They are very supportive, and
they treat us well. I can't imagine myself anywhere else at this point in my life.
We have a culture of mutual respect, a culture of open communication. We focus on hiring locally and training. We opened up our own school and trained the people of Northeast Pennsylvania so they could have those jobs. And that is a commitment to the community. 98% of the people on the casino floor were hired and trained locally. It's very important for us to do that. We just did the same thing with our hotel in Pocono Downs.
At Mohegan Sun, there's so many opportunities.
There's accounting, there's marketing.
Anything a city requires is pretty much what we do here.
These folks have a great opportunity not just to have a job, but to start a career.
You don't have to jump to a new job every 3 years. They promote from within.
It provided an opportunity for growth, a career that you really couldn't find in the area.
I started as a Players Club supervisor. I've assumed more responsibilities over the years, and the title changed thus to hotel manager.
Here I am 17 years with security, with good benefits, medical, dental, vision, 401k, tuition reimbursement. We have a dry cleaners, we have a bank, we have a fitness center, we have a store.
You get meals to eat, complimentary. I mean, it's great.
Honestly, I'm so passionate about the company. I mean, I wake up thankful every day that I had an opportunity to get in at Mohegan Sun. I'm very proud to say I work for Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs and Mohegan Sun as a whole. You leave happy, you know that you make someone smile, in addition to all the other benefits of being an employee here. I love it.
This is a facility that I think the region is going to be very proud of. It's a design that inspires. Designed by the architectural firm of Cohen Peterson Fox. It's an international award-winning firm that also designed the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. This rendering here, whoop, a little too fast. This rendering here is a look from the beach side. And the two elevated structures here, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. I think this thing works. This is a boutique hotel with a spa, and this is the casino-based hotel that looks over the racetrack. And you're going to see that what we've developed here is a very horizontal approach that fits very comfortably into the neighborhood. And as neighbors, I think it's a project that you can be very comfortable with as well. This three-dimensional type approach is going to help me lay out the project site for you just a little bit. Assume here this is the west side of the project, or the left side of the screen here, Tomasello Way. Winthrop Avenue runs across here, Washburn here, and Bennington Street right along here. You can see Revere Beach Parkway that runs out to the beach here. The project has about 50% of the site that is green space, including about 9 acres here, which is our entryway. This triangular rotary, if you will, if that's not an oxymoron, takes you into the property in an elevated ride to our porte cochere for valet parking, and this is our porte cochere area. Or you could take the right side here, which takes you into our structured parking, all of which is located underneath the facility, which allows us to minimize the amount of impervious space and allow much better rainwater filtering through the ground. As I said in the previous slide, this is the casino hotel that overlooks the racetrack, the boutique hotel that overlooks the Winthrop Avenue and the beach. There are two main entrances. One I pointed out already, which is the valet, and the other is the Beachmont Station here, and we've treated that as a main entrance, and you'll see a rendering of that in just a moment. An overhead view of the project, and you can see the amount of green space involved. We can get back to it. Here again is our arrival experience, our trip out to self-parking. The structure itself, perimeter here, this part here, the pink fan area, represents the area of the casino floor. The orange space, for the most part, represents retail and restaurant space. The purple here in the corner is a 10,000 square foot spa, and the blue represents meeting and multi-purpose space. The rendering here is a drive-in from the porte-cochere area, and you can see it's an evening rendering as you approach the property at the porte-cochere, and it's a very large green space entry, something I think that's unique to all the greater Boston area. When you get off the T at Beachmont, you step onto the sidewalk, this is the view that you will see. This is the main entrance, the other main entrance that we have to this facility, and I think you'll agree it's pretty impressive and will be very inviting to guests coming in on public transportation. Another view from the other end of Winthrop Avenue, highlighted by the boutique spa hotel here on this end, and you can see the T station down at the end. A great deal of green buffer space. Here all along Winthrop Avenue here is green space with a walkway all the way down. A view from the porte-cochere as you drive up in your Lamborghini. And you can see we've taken some of the design elements from the beach, a lot of parasol type approach to represent beach umbrellas. We've tried to incorporate that beach theme throughout the project. A rooftop view. Sorry. A rooftop view. We're still developing the way that the rooftop will come together, but we'll have a pool area. Our greenhouse, I already mentioned, will be up there. There'll be separate gardens available, an entertainment location up there. It's going to be a very exciting location. You can see here in the distance the glow from Boston. It'll be a very exciting spot. And then just our last rendering is just a quick view of some of the polished spaces inside, a lot of deep colors, a very inviting space that's going to be very large.
Approaching 30 minutes, we're about 28 minutes.
And that brings us to, I hope you'll indulge us with our last video that wraps it up. And to us, it shows a little excitement about the project.
Is about far more than building a casino. It's about possibility.
About promise.
About a vision for the future. The future.
It's about providing the greatest economic impact for the Commonwealth. And putting people to work. Just as Suffolk Downs did in 1935.
And once again making Revere
a thriving tourist destination that draws guests of all economic walks of life who will come here from Boston, the Commonwealth,
the region, and the world.
We understand this kind of vision.
And have the New England know-how to turn it
into a reality.
It's what we have done before, and we'll do again in Revere.
We're proud of what we do every day.
We treat our guests and employees
the way we believe every person should be treated.
With courtesy and respect.
We will do all of this in a way that'll make the local community
and the Commonwealth proud.
We have a dedication to diversity, a legacy of integrity, proven programs of partnership,
and a history of responsible citizenship in the communities in which we operate. All of us are ready to get started.
On Mohegan Sun, Massachusetts, and become part of your community. In fact, it would be an honor.
Thank you for your kind attention during our presentation. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Gary. Gary, thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Whoop.
Sorry if I distracted you from the last portion of that. Gary and I had a little bit of disagreement, and I will accept responsibility if I was inappropriate. I just felt that last piece of the presentation was Revere, yes or no. I didn't feel that it was related to Winthrop. So I apologize if I should have known that ahead of time. My apology is both to Mohegan Sun and to the town of Winthrop. We're going to continue on to public comment and people to speak. I need to say that in the town council rules, Winthrop residents are allowed to participate and speak. There is a 5-minute time limit in the rules. I would request that if you can minimize your comments to less than 5 minutes. We have 36 people signed up that would like to say something, and if every one of the 36 takes 5 minutes, we're at 3 hours, which is 11:15. So I would hope that you would make your comments brief. I would hope that if your comments are repetitive, that you would cut them short so that we're not hearing the same thing over and over again. I would like to have our comments be how the casino, whether you're for the casino or opposed to the casino, that your comments be as reflective as they can on the community of Winthrop and its relationship with Mohegan Sun, should Mohegan Sun be granted a license. I'm going to go by the list of the order that you people signed up, and we're going to start with Astrid Wien, and Tangi will be coming around with a microphone. Tangi has, unless you'd rather come up here. If you'd rather come up here, that's fine.
Good evening. My name is Astrid Wines. I'm a Winthrop resident. I live in Precinct 3. My husband and I own a small but
okay. Try that, Astrid.
Okay. My husband and I own a small but beautiful oceanfront home, a dream come true for us and a lifetime investment. We never would have imagined the kind of community we found here, with neighbors who know each other and help each other out, many of whom are here tonight. We certainly didn't account for a casino when we envisioned our family's future in Winthrop. When I listen to a presentation like this, I just can't shake off the scientist in me. I'm a rational thinker, and my nature is to be skeptical. I can only hope that all of you, the residents of Winthrop, know that what we are presented with tonight are pre-screened and embellished data, put together with the sole intention to make us believe this casino is good for us. In science, we call this bias. Let me ask you this. Are you really inclined to believe the very organization that will be the only definitive winner of the game, their grand prize being $1 billion gambling license? Or do you owe it to yourself and your neighbor to gather objective evidence and generate your own judgment? If you did your research like I did, you likely also found out we are in a special geographic and socioeconomic position without any precedent when it comes to casino development. Winthrop, being a residential community on a peninsula, seamlessly embedded in an urban environment, may have very little, if anything, to gain and a lot to lose. Fact is, nothing can be guaranteed here. In other words, the effect of the casino on our community is an experiment. Mohegan Sun won't care about the outcome, but you and I should. However, looking at the evidence that is available, things look dire for us. At best, only a few of our individuals in the town would see actual improvement to their life. Worse even, there are many risks specific to Winthrop, which Mohegan Sun chose not to acknowledge in their analysis nor in their presentation. They may have overlooked us, they may have written us off, whatever the case, we are clearly not being offered enough for what is at risk for us, the heart and soul of an organically growing and diverse community with lots of potential, which is on a slow, okay, admittedly, but on a good path to grow from a great place to live to an amazing place to live. Do you want families to move here because they want to live in Winthrop, or do you want people to move here because Winthrop is next to a casino? To me, this risk alone cannot be compensated with money. But I think we all agree here it is worth more than what was offered to us. Just a couple of facts for you, which as a physician, they are very close to my heart. One fact, Winthrop is already severely underserved from a community health and safety standpoint, which both our fire and our police chief have repeatedly pointed out in the past. For 18,000 people, we have fewer than a handful of PCPs in town. There's no hospital, no emergency room. Who of us doesn't go to Revere or, of course, to Boston with its world-class medical facilities on a regular basis to seek medical attention? How much will the response time of medical first responders change due to increased traffic on routes 1A and 16 or in the tunnels? Mohegan Sun does not acknowledge any significant traffic impacts to Winthrop. A single minute of delay in the commute to MGH suddenly becomes significant if you are the one lying in the ambulance or you are having the baby while an event at the casino lets out. Imagine being a senior resident and relying on timely routine ambulance care for food delivery or other things at your home. Are these people going to be impacted in their commute into or out of Winthrop? Fact is also, even Mohegan Sun has to acknowledge that problem gambling, along with all its associated comorbidities, are well documented in the literature as significant public health issues. Usually these issues are not factored into a casino's cost-benefit analysis, while they are associated with a high cost to the community. Such comorbidities include alcohol, drug abuse, mental illness, obesity. Community outreach, preventive care, and early intervention are key. Who is going to absorb the cost for that? Even more importantly, who's going to do it here in Winthrop? Fact is also, problem gambling leads to financial hardship and stress. It'll break apart families, interpersonal relationships, drop performance. Not only your personal health, our whole community's health is at risk. Fact is also, all adverse effects that I've mentioned and others, many others, have clearly been shown to be the most severe within a radius of 10 miles surrounding a casino. We are located within that radius, clearly. Unlike Revere, which will receive tens of millions of dollars, I'm almost done.
Thank you.
I'm almost done. We are being only offered a drop of water on a hot plate. So I'm asking you again, are those factually increased risks to you and your family's personal and health worth the meager mitigation package we're being offered? It is based on facts like this that I am against this casino. These are facts, and they're not based on a biased presentation fueled by Suffolk Downs' desperation and Mohegan Sun's greed. For the sake of our community's future, I urge you to vehemently oppose the plans for this casino and to not accept the insulting offer from Mohegan Sun. Thank you.
Cut anybody off, I'll give you a 1 minute warning, if not warning, a 1 minute gong show or whatever we call it as it's coming to the 5 minutes. Okay, Heather Engman, please.
Good evening. Heather Engman, Precinct 4. And I feel like I first have to point out that this was a canned presentation from Mohegan Sun that had absolutely nothing to do with the town of Winthrop. It's further evidence of a pattern and a practice of ignoring and disregarding the needs of this community. Over the course of the past several weeks, Mohegan Sun has demonstrated a complete disregard for this town. Mohegan Sun actually stated in a letter to the town that there would be no adverse impacts to residents of this community. And frankly, it's clear that the negotiation process has been going terribly wrong. And as a homeowner in this community, the offer on the table of $745,000 is incredibly insulting. These are all warning signs and red flags. Mohegan Sun's failure to acknowledge the impacts now is going to mean a failure to acknowledge the impacts later. Mohegan Sun is willing to insult, disregard, and mistreat Winthrop at this stage in the process as it's competing for a license and trying to impress the Gaming Commission. It's even more likely to disregard and take advantage of our town once it gets the license. It's clear that Mohegan Sun has an intent to nickel and dime this community. This is especially concerning to me because the casino will be there forever. No question, it will evolve or devolve, and as the case may be, and change over time. And just like the MWRA that decided it wanted to truck other people's food waste through our streets, and just like Logan Airport that occasionally wants to expand or move runways closer to Winthrop homes, so too will the casino services and building facilities, customer base, and revenues change over time. Issues that are likely to be unknown to developers or the town now are likely to come up and will require mitigation or will require existing agreements to be reopened. A casino next door is going to be a long-term and ongoing concern that needs constant attention and constant mitigation. So here's the question. Taking into account how Mohegan Sun has treated Winthrop in the past several weeks, does Winthrop really want a long-term relationship with this organization? Does this town council want to saddle future town councils and future generations of Winthrop kids with ongoing problems and ongoing negotiations that we really don't have any control over? And even if Winthrop gets through this particular negotiation with Mohegan Sun, there's going to be more negotiations and more fights to come. At some point, Mohegan Sun will realize it isn't making the profits it expected, particularly when online gambling becomes more prevalent, and will want out of obligations it owes to this town. Mohegan Sun will always have deep pockets and an army of lawyers, and I'm concerned about what Winthrop has. We've got limited resources, and we're not always going to be represented by the Speaker of the House. The Gaming Commission and Chairman Crosby in particular have repeatedly stated that casinos that don't want that communities that don't want a casino don't have to have one. East Boston already said no. If Winthrop says no too, there's a very strong likelihood that the Gaming Commission will find the Mohegan Sun proposal lacks necessary support of heavily impacted surrounding communities. So I urge you to please oppose this Mohegan Sun casino. It's a particularly bad deal and bad planning for Winthrop.
Thank you, Heather. So they can see it. Terrence Delahanty, please.
Thank you, Town Council. Thank you, Town Council. First, I'd like to applaud Mohegan Sun for a great presentation. However, it had absolutely nothing to do with Winthrop. It lacked enthusiasm for the participants here tonight. It certainly told us what you're going to do about Revere and for Revere, which I applaud Revere for securing their agreement, and they're our partners in the day-to-day activities with police and fire. However, we talked about good faith at the beginning of your presentation and responsibility. You lacked to show us good faith so far and responsibility by denying there's going to be any public safety impacts to the town of Winthrop. There will be an increase in demand in police and fire services, roads, and education. We have seen this throughout every community you worked in Connecticut. ESL spending had increased. Most of those Connecticut communities spoke 3 languages prior to the opening of the casino. Now they speak up to 32 languages. So that's something we're concerned with here locally, because people who work at your casino are going to want to live in Winthrop, because we are a good community, we are a small community, and we have access to great beaches. Also, the town of Preston increased calls, 800 calls a year after you opened the Foxwood Casino in Connecticut. Ledyard, we had to hire 50% more full-time police officers to control the crime down there and traffic concerns. In Wisconsin, They built a new casino with only 1,500 slots. And the crime rate rose 506%. Police spending rose 506%, an increase of $3 million a year. In Leadwood, Connecticut, the total number of crimes increased 632% from 1991 to 1998. Other studies have shown a spike in Orlando, Florida, after the Disney World opened. Why does that have anything to do with it? Disney World has 45,000 visitors in a day. Suffolk Downs was quoted in a 2012 Globe article with 45 million visitors a year to Suffolk Downs. So more people, more crime, more traffic, and more problems. The types of crimes that we're concerned with, and the DOJ studies that concentrated on 8 casinos that opened in surrounding areas: larceny, robbery, and white collar. They're not going to commit larcenies or robberies at the casino or in Revere. Because why? You're going to have all your technology there, as you stated earlier. They're going to be caught there. They're going to come here where we're more susceptible to those crimes, because we're not going to be well off. Why? Because you're not stepping up and addressing the needs of public safety. That agreement is despicable. We need you to get serious. Let's look at the agreements that you have now entered into with the City of Chelsea. Why don't you want to go over $2.5 million? Because the City of Chelsea has a reopener that says if you negotiate any more than 2.5 with any other community, they get to go back to the table. City of Chelsea's agreement wasn't widely publicized because of that. Every other town and community you negotiated with, Swampscott, Lynn, Melrose, they don't even come close to being in the proximity of Winthrop. Chelsea doesn't even come close to being in the proximity of Winthrop. My front door is closer to your casino than the entire city of Chelsea, and 75% of Revere. Jay Ash was quoted that the money was going to be spent to add more police officers. City of Revere, $2 million a year. To the police, $2 million to the fire department. If there's not going to be any problems, why have all the other cities, including those surrounding communities, allocating those funds for police? Because they recognize there's going to be problems.
About 1 minute, Chief.
Wrapping up, sir. $400,000 additional is added to the Chelsea agreement to address traffic concerns in problem areas. If Chelsea's going to have traffic concerns and they're not even close to the proximity of the casino, what are we going to have? So you got to be fair, and we got to look at other studies, as the previous speakers have said. And we got to look not just at state studies, but also law review articles that have studied casinos in Connecticut. And most of this information is from those law review articles. You gave an 8.1% escalator for the places in Connecticut that you do business for. I haven't seen an 8% escalator in any agreement up here. And certainly, you have to address our public safety concerns. This is not going to work. I understand we can't stop you. I understand we don't get a vote. But certainly, you want to be good partners with us. You want to start off on the right foot. Let's get serious and get back to the table and address public safety. Thank you. Thank you.
Kent Elliott, 49 Reed Street.
I think I'll go up here. Can you hear me? Okay, good. I'm going to be very, very brief. I want to start, I have a few comments basically on roads, addiction, and I have this new iPhone. It's so handy here to put my little notes. There are 4 comments, really. The first thing I want to say is people keep talking about the roads in and out of Winthrop. We have 2. Sometimes we actually have 1 road, because on Shore Drive, when there's a giant storm, snowstorm, hurricane, that type of thing, rocks come over the seawall, and they have to close off the whole road over to Revere. So there's only 1 road in and out of this town. And I was driving on 1A and 1 last weekend, and when I was at the meeting last Tuesday in South Boston, someone was joking, oh yeah, well, casino hours aren't the same as work hours, so rush hour isn't going to be a problem. Well, you know, working families go up and down 1A and 1 on weekends because they have to get shopping done. And there's no way to widen those roads. There's businesses and houses and sidewalks right up to the edge of 1A and 16 and 1. And so this $45 million road thing that people are talking about, I don't quite get what they're going to do. Are they going to do giant takings and take out businesses and houses to widen the roads so people can get to the casino? And as far as Winthrop goes, this was my third point, we have a huge addiction problem here already. We've got lots of kids on heroin, OxyContins. We've got major problems of addiction in this town. And I don't think it's our dream for all of our kids to grow up and work at casinos and make a living off of addiction and gambling. You know, that's really not cool. And you say you partner with local businesses, maybe some people will win at the casino and they'll get a coupon to go to Yo So Good or something. Well, the thing is, your video itself showed all these employees that are like, we never even have to leave the casino. We've got a gym, we've got a store, we've got probably a church too. I don't know, you're gonna have everything right in that casino so people never have to go outside. How is that gonna help local businesses? I don't get that. And you know, my final snarky comment is really, I'm from Somerville. I lived there for a long, long time. And I'm thrilled that you guys have made an agreement with Somerville, but that's like light years away from, you know, they're a host or neighboring or surrounding community if the casino goes in Everett. But like Winthrop, it really is like we can see it from here. And so I'm thrilled that people far away like Medford and Somerville and wherever have made these great deals with you guys, but they're not going to feel the effect at all in the way that we do. So, you know, I'm really disappointed in what's happening. I feel a lot of people are railroading through and sort of jumping over laws and going around laws to make all this happen. I'm sad. So I'm going to end, let other people talk. Good evening.
Thank you. 99 Loring Road, Precinct 2. Tangi Safuni, 99 Loring Road, Precinct 2.
Good evening. My name is Tangi Safuni, and I live in Precinct 2 with my husband and our boys. And I would like to thank you for this opportunity to speak. I have the privilege to live and work in Winthrop. We are among the Winthrop moms and dads who are concerned about the casino and all that it will bring to our community. The town of Winthrop, my town of Winthrop, is an isolated peninsula where small town values exist in the midst of the shadow of Boston, the international city. My town of Winthrop is home to just over 18,000 people, families who care about each other, who are closely knit, and who strongly protect their children and who want to see them prosper with the best that we can provide. We are a community who cares for its seniors, its handicapped, and its veterans. Some of our families have deep roots, while others are new arrivals, eager to help our community reach its full potential, like my husband and myself. Despite the challenges of a difficult recession, Winthrop is emerging as a stable community, willing to invest in itself and in the future of our children, as we overwhelmingly just passed an $80 million override to build a new middle high school. That vote speaks volumes to the passion and commitment we have in our community and how important it is that our community succeeds in moving forward, because it's not enough to have the challenges of a major resort casino mitigated. Rather, we need to be protected and, yes, benefited in advance by what is being planned for at the northern edge of our community. Why should we ask for or expect anything less? Some say that we should lower our expectations, that we should just accept the inevitable and deal with the challenges. To that I say, I am a mother of 8 boys in the Winthrop schools, and I do not have low expectations for my sons. But I want their future not built around a handful of promises, but built on a foundation of guarantees. When property values go down, investment goes down in our schools. That is why we need more than token investment or lip service paid to the challenges we will have as a further isolated community due to the planned growth of the 1A corridor. What we have here in Winthrop, we love. We know that change is inevitable, but that change shouldn't be pocket change, but change we can believe in. that we can benefit from, and that will guarantee our future and the future of our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Tangi. Amy Rodriguez, Pauline Street, Precinct 2.
Good evening, my name is Amy Rodriguez and I live at 169 Pauline Street, Precinct 2. I am a mother to 2 children in the Winthrop Public Schools. The photos you see around the room tonight were taken by my father, Richard, who takes beautiful pictures every day of the beauty that surrounds us. I am a 4th generation resident of Winthrop. I grew up here and now I raise my family here. But like Peter Gill said, we share our borders with some powerful neighbors: the Atlantic Ocean, Deer Island, Logan Airport, and Suffolk Downs. You've heard it said before that Winthrop is a surrounded community with only 2 ways in and out. We're cut off from the outer world by the walls of existing traffic. Quite honestly, we are not convinced that this project will improve our existing conditions. Even with the best of efforts, this will intensify the current traffic challenges and only make a bad situation worse for Winthrop residents. If you build it, they will come, and they will come in droves. That's what you hope for, isn't it? Well, while you will be busy, and we hope you are successful, we will be coping with the new challenges your project brings to us and threatens our quality of life. None of the analysis you perform by your traffic engineers for the proposed casino adequately addresses the traffic challenges for us, Winthrop residents. You do not do any analysis that directly addresses Winthrop. What happens when we add 2 to 3 minutes to our ambulance response time? How does that get compensated? What happens when I go down to our local center restaurants to eat or get takeout and it's closed because everyone went to the casino for dinner and a show? Winthrop has just started to get a good name for its restaurants. La Siesta, Rossetti's, Blackstrap, Belle Isle, Hong Kong, to name a few. Will these restaurants survive? I know you say that people will get rewards, but how many people do you know that go to Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun and come back and say, oh, I went to Foxwoods and I went to this great restaurant in the town next door? No one. That just doesn't happen. You know it and we know it. You want the money to be spent at your casino. That just makes sense. We want our restaurants and our commercial establishments not just to survive, but to prosper, even with you casting the shadow over our community. Our mom and pop businesses should be guaranteed a lifeline. Winthrop is already fully built out. There is no future commercial development upside for Winthrop, as there may be for Revere or Chelsea. Winthrop is small, it's not wealthy, and it's struggling to find its proper place in the region. We need support that will make our community better in the long run. To do this, we need your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Barbara Civilis, Precinct 1. Barbara Civilis, Precinct 1. Yeah.
This mic is on.
Yeah.
You probably won't have trouble hearing me. I just wanted to say hello to all the friends and neighbors. I'm going to, so much has been said. Terry Delahanty did a fabulous job with the statistics. I too have done this research, and what he's telling you is the truth. If you've ever found yourself on a back street in Atlantic City or on the wrong bus in Las Vegas, think about where Winthrop's going to be at some time in the future. I am diametrically and unequivocally opposed as a 3rd-generation Winthropite, soon to be 69 years of age and born like Peter in the Winthrop Community Hospital, raising 4th and 5th generations here to a casino as a neighbor. So I'm going to compare this to a relationship, if I may. And I've got a great relationship going into 48 years of marriage, so don't take this the wrong way. But when you are meeting a suitor for the first time, they are on their very best behavior. Okay, so statistically, nationwide, it is not the host community, but the contiguous community that takes the hit and becomes abused and battered. We are told we have no say in this, and Terry eloquently spoke about an 8% escalator, I say to you, so just as a new suitor turns up in town with a friendship ring and eventually a diamond to dazzle you, don't be overcome by the smoke that they're blowing up your nose, because after the honeymoon is over, you're going to be left with the babies and the dirty bottles. So make sure. So make sure that when you go to the negotiating table, if we have no say, that you get a prenup agreement that is going to protect us for perpetuity, and you make sure that, not like what happened to us with Massport, that we lost millions of dollars with just a little settlement, that you make sure that the escalation is for perpetuity, because folks, you're going to need it for public safety.
Thank you, Barbara. Jonathan Lamasta, 54 Bar Ave, Precinct 3.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Lamasta, Precinct 3. Thank you, Town Council. Thank you, Mohegan Sun, for your presentation. My wife and I bought a beautiful home here in Revere. Winthrop. Did any of you guys get any of that Kool-Aid they were passing out up front?
This is about Winthrop, Jonathan, not about Revere, remember.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for the reminder. I'm just going to talk about a major concern of mine. I'm a business owner, and I'm very concerned about the businesses here in Winthrop, so I'm going to keep it exclusively to that. And I'm going to give you 5 names: Lou Dominic, Andy Hornick, Richard Sicoli, Tom Greco, and Andy Partash. I don't know if any of those names sound familiar to you gentlemen, but they're all business owners near the Pocono Downs. And just last week, a wonderful article came out in the Scranton, Pennsylvania Times-Tribune. And I'll just read a little bit of that. Lou Dominic, owner of Dominic's Cafe in Plains Township, said he has gradually seen his business decline about 30% over the last few years. And he blames Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs. The 61-year-old business owner said many of his potential customers flock away from his business into the nearby giant casino complex, Mohegan Sun, which has 14 bars and restaurants, plenty of deals. Casino complex left some area small restaurants and bar owners struggling to compete, like Mr. Dominic, whose cafe has been in business for 67 years. His parents started the business, and he and his wife, Mary Ellen, took over 42 years ago. There's nobody around in the evenings, says Mr. Dominic, because everyone is going there. It's cheaper. They give away free beer. I can't compete with their prices. People want everything: gambling, booze, food, and I can't compete with it. 67 years in business, 30% decline since Mohegan Sun has come in. Several others: Andy Hornick, owner of Andy's Diner in North River Street in Plains Township, says a lot of seniors used to come to his business, and now they're going and spending their afternoon at the casino, so they're not coming in there. Richard Sicoli at the Victory Pig Pizza said he's asked senior citizens specifically where they've been. He hasn't seen them. They've been at the casino. Tom Greco at the Oyster Restaurant in the hotel, Jean Hill Hotel, Genetti Hotel, I'm sorry. Charged that the casino is destroying local business, competing with Mohegan Sun. The deals on slots, dinner. When Mr. Greco asks bands to perform, he said he must charge patrons, but the casino puts on free concerts and gamblers get free beer. Live entertainment is no longer a possibility for him. Finally, Andy Partash, who owns Brews Brothers Sports Bar and Restaurant in Jenkins Township, and the Tomato Bar and Bistro in Pittston with his brother Michael, said he had to change his business model to include more food and less entertainment. He said, we have to charge a cover and pay a band to make money, but they have bands on Thursday nights, and so many people go to the casino and blow their paychecks, it's impossible to compete. I'll just leave you with their words. Thank you.
Carroll, 2 Terrace Ave, Charles Carroll.
Hello, a mitigation agreement to me is much like an accident claim. If you're driving a new car, somebody runs a stop sign and hits you, you're supposed to be compensated to a point that you can replace your vehicle. It has to be fair, it has to be acceptable, and it has to put you back where you started. If we lose 10 to 15 minutes a day each way back and forth to work, you wind up at 90 to 130 hours a week. How do they set you back on that? What do you put for a value on your time, your aggravation? What's the value to a restaurant who's got people driving in 25 minutes away right now, that when they add 20 minutes to that drive, they're not coming here. They're going someplace 20 minutes closer. That's my concern. And I'm sure we're talking about $45 to $50 million of infrastructure. So there's going to be a lot of work going on the roads. How's that going to affect you? The fix is actually going to sting us as much as the cure. That's a problem. The other problem we have is revenues projected, actual revenues. We know the economy's hurting in everything. Atlantic City just boarded up a casino. Revenues are down. Gambling is one giant pie, and you're going to get a piece of the existing pie. It's not a new pie every time you open up. So projections and actual numbers, completely different. And lastly, I might tick off some people, but for the speaker to come in and say this package is unfair, treat us decently, it really struck me ironic. That's like a slave trader selling you to a new owner and then saying, go easy on the whip. That's all.
Thank you, Joe. Jane Kelleher, 5 Pratt Street. Jane Kelleher.
I'll pass.
Okay, Jane's going to pass. Reverend May, Precinct 3. Just while Reverend May is coming up, I was remiss that I didn't mention that Senator Petroselli had a previous commitment. However, he did send Jackie Indrisano. Jackie is here representing Senator Petroselli. As I said, he had a previous commitment. Go ahead, Reverend May.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you gave a magnificent presentation. Looked beautiful. I saw a lot of smiling faces that spoke how wonderful you were and how wonderful you take care of people. What I did not see up there was many, many people that were broken because of Mohegan Sun. The people behind the scenes that lose, the families that break. We have a saying here in Winthrop is worth it. And we're here tonight to let you know Winthrop is worth it. And we're here going to fight for Winthrop. It's not about Mohegan Sun. You're going to make millions or billions of dollars. Don't plan on throwing us crumbs here for Winthrop. I have to deal with people that are broken all the time. You're going to break people. People are going to lose families. Families are going to break up. People cry. I deal with it all the time. Now, what are you going to do about those people? So you show all the nice people, the happy people, the people that are so happy with you. But what about the people that are going to pay the price for losing everything because they go there? How are you going to compensate Winthrop? How are you going to protect the people of our community? What are you going to do for that? We understand you may get the casino there, but we're going to fight for it here. Understand that. I deal with the people that are broken. This is what, I'm not going to go over what everybody else has said, but please keep in mind, broken people affect all of us, and we need you to know that. So you need to put that in your budget and not just crumbs. Thank you very much.
John Eade, 34 Wadsworth Street, Precinct 1. John, is that Precinct 1?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
I'll be brief because all the people that have had something to say have really done an excellent job. I just want to fill in a couple things and then say something about how I feel about this. The idea that there are no impacts on Winthrop is just ridiculous. One of the impacts nobody's talking about up to this point is a simple one. We're a growing town. Our businesses are getting better. We have a beginning of a nightlife. We have restaurants from La Siesta to the Arms to the Belle Isle, all of which their clientele, their sales, their guests are increasing. A good deal of many of these people come here. We couldn't provide the business from this town to show the growth that these businesses have seen. They come from primarily a little bit from Boston, but a lot from north of Boston. There are 5 congested, impacted intersections for anybody that wants to come to this town or leave this town and go north, beginning with Bell Circle. Every one of those are going to be impacted by traffic going to this casino. $40 to $50 million does not deal with that problem. It just gets people into the casino is what it's going to do. It's going to get them off the O'Brien Highway. It's going to get them in coming through the back. It's going to cut us off from getting out of this town going north to where most of us shop. I'd like to say something about the impact on education. I live a little more than a mile from this casino. I could walk over there and go to work every day. If I had a family, and obviously I'm a pretty old guy, so I'm not going to have a young family, but I see more students in our schools. I see the need for more space, more teachers, and I don't believe that this impact is going to come out of Boston or Framingham. It's going to come as a result of the growth of the casino and the impact of the casino. We in here have heard about crime. We've heard about the impacts on the fire department. We haven't heard about the impact of the casino on the value of almost all of us, the one investment that we have. That's our homes. I've lived in Detroit. I grew up not far away. I'm familiar with the casino in Muskegon, Michigan. I am familiar, back in 1968, with Atlantic City, and Atlantic City after the casinos came. All I have to do is say Detroit, and you know how much gambling helped Detroit. Muskegon, a town that you haven't heard of, beautiful town on Lake Michigan, no impact, in fact, a negative impact on the community, and Atlantic City speaks for itself. We have an investment in our homes. We are in a trifecta of regional growth and impact on this town. The airport hasn't raised our values. The MWRA hasn't raised our values, and the casino is not going to raise our property values either. Now I'd like to say something sincerely to the gentleman from Mohegan Sun. I've negotiated, and part of what I've found out to negotiate successfully is to know the people I'm negotiating with, to know what their needs and concerns are. Tonight you showed me nothing. You got to come here. You got to learn about our concerns, and you got to realistically, instead of coming with the answer, find the problem, join with the community, and start to solve those problems. And money's not enough. Your involvement is required, not a fancy show made for Revere. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Josh Aronoff, Precinct 5. Josh Aronoff. Jake Pizzuto, Quincy Ave, Precinct 4. Jake Pizzuto.
I hope people
don't throw rocks at me because I'm in favor of the casino. Absolutely. I've been a homeowner in Winthrop for about 25 years, and all I see is taxes being raised, water, sewer bills being raised, and so if a person is a senior citizen, as I am, I have to keep working part-time in order to survive. Now, I've seen schools that could have been rehabilitated, and they built new schools. And over the last 25 years, it's not, I don't know who cares about Winthrop, but I do. And the other thing is, I won't say too much now, but I've been to the 3 casinos, the 2 in Connecticut and Twin River. And I just wanted to say that if I go there at 8 o'clock in the morning, or 12 noon, or 5 o'clock at night, I can't even find the parking spot. There are thousands of Massachusetts residents. The cars, 4 out of 5 cars have Massachusetts plates. You are not going to stop people from gambling. I don't care what you do. And that's I just wanted to be honest about it. I've gone there many times. I'm not a gambler. I go, once in a while I'll go and gamble with some friends of mine, but not very lightly. But when I see these cars with the Massachusetts plates, no one is going to stop the gamblers. I think that Mohegan's son, I just wanted to say one thing I left out, which I wanted to thank Speaker DeLeo. I think that Speaker DeLeo and the group of town council will do a great job in negotiating for us. Everybody has spoken up about their concerns about their children and about, I happen to be a senior citizen, but if my taxes go up and my oil bill goes up and all the rest of it, I am not going to have a house here. I'm going to have to sell it. And I mean, there's a lot of senior citizens that own houses in Winthrop, and there should be a concern about them as well, not just to have children. And I've had my children. I have children, and but you know, as a Winthrop resident, I think that I didn't know what the meeting was going to be about, but I think it's great that Mohegan's son is willing to negotiate with the town of Winthrop in what it is that will cost it to work. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jake. Patricia Hurley Felt, 18 Taylor Street. Precinct 4? Yeah.
I just moved here. My name's Patty Hurley Felt. I live on Taylor Street. I too love to drive to Connecticut and look forward to the day when I don't have to drive. I go down there about once a month. I like to gamble a little bit. But I also have a few questions that I'd like to present, and I want to thank our board for attempting to negotiate. And one of my questions is, as a community, are we against the casino, or are we against the fact that we're not getting the money we want? And that's something we need to look at, because there really is 2 sides to the story, is like against it totally or against how much they're offering us, which is peanuts. If the casino doesn't go to Revere, though, and it ends up in Everett, we will get very little, we will get a little less impact on the transportation, but we are still going to be impacted on the roads a little further out. And that's a concern for me, that we'll get less compensation. Also, if we're not satisfied with the way they're dealing with our board, and our board's doing a great job, then as DeLeo said, we can go to the commissioner and have it reviewed. We have the statistics that were presented here tonight by Officer Delahanty and many other people about the impact it's going to have in our community. We can go get our, have it reviewed by the commission. Also, one other question I have is, I keep hearing about this $40 to $50 million transportation and infrastructure money. I would like to know if that will affect Winthrop, because it's the transportation and the safety of our transportation, because both our roads go to your front gates. You know, whether it's we're leaving through Orient Heights and it's that gate, or we're leaving through Revere and it's that gate. And I'd like to know if any of that $40 to $50 million will affect our road structure to, for us to be safe. And I want to thank everybody who spoke on public safety, and I'm not going to repeat. My concerns are also about the safety in the community and medical issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patty. Stephen Poor, 20 Cottage Avenue. Stephen?
Do you want to answer?
Yeah, why don't we hold those, and after these people, then you can come back with the... Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, thank you. I don't really like public speaking too much. I didn't prepare anything. A couple things. My name's Dr. Stephen Poor. I moved to Winthrop 6 years ago. I love Winthrop. My wife and I and my son are committed to Winthrop. I've also actually loved it so much that my parents have moved to Winthrop to retire here. I work at a large pharmaceutical company, and I spout the virtues of Winthrop all the time, and many people have expressed an interest to visit Winthrop and to move here. And I just want you to know that one of the effects of the casino is that interest in moving here is decreased. So it has a real impact for our town. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Stephen, and I think you won the prize for being the briefest. Appreciate that. There is a prize at the end, by the way. Lee Fitch, 152 Shirley Street, Precinct 6. Lee is going to pass. I have someone by the last name of Snow from Cottage Avenue. I can't read the first name. Pardon me?
Yes, I am. Yeah, pass it.
Thank you. Bob Hudd, 55 Washington Avenue. Bob Hudd. Moving on. I have a last name of Anderson from Pond Street. I don't have a first name. Anderson from Pond Street. Gula, 16 Summit Avenue. I can't read the name. 16 Summit Avenue.
Passing.
Passing. Bob Wynn. Pass.
Passing.
Todd Sacco.
He left.
Pass. David Reynolds. (104) Johnson Ave, Precinct 5. Right, David?
Yes, still there. You sold me the house, so.
This is supposed to be non-commercial, but if you want to put it back up on the market, my card is right here.
I'm glad to see Mr. Tuttle back here. He was here last year at that point with Caesar's Palace. Showed us a great rendering of traffic studies of, Mohegan Street overpasses and things like that. Unfortunately, the rendering that I saw here tonight actually is very different than the one you showed us last year, which actually puts more traffic, more impactful traffic at the back door of Winthrop, down by the Beachmont Station. That's 22,000 cars that's going to be on the road in Winthrop. It's not going to be too long until they figure out the shortcut to the tunnel is through Winthrop. 22,000 cars. You think the traffic was bad trying to get home when they closed the tunnel over the last few months? Where do you see that?
I know, David, you might be vying for that prize for the shortest time. I'm not sure. Matt Morano, 64 Enfield. Matt? Kay O'Dwyer, 52 Cottage Ave.
Hello, Winthrop. How are you? Gary, Chip, and John. I'm Kay Moriarty O'Dwyer. I own a home at 52 Cottage Avenue with Rob O'Dwyer and our 3 beautiful children. And I just wanted to let you know that we do know how accessible Winthrop is. We live here. And I'm very relieved to hear about incorporating the beach theme to the casino. That's nifty. Clever. We are taking care of our own in Winthrop. We're all about the love that we show one another, including to our local businesses. We want to see our home team growing. We don't have to worry about ethics or social capital in Winthrop, Massachusetts. We need social justice and a strong, sustainable environment. Winthrop and Beachmont, our neighbor in Revere, are charming little hamlets that have delicate ecosystems, Belle Marsh, for example. And many struggle with addiction in these neighborhoods as well. So I'm pleased to hear that you're offering complimentary substance abuse counseling. That's very big of you. We wouldn't need it if we weren't going to endeavor in this. We would love to have some of that budget money in our school budget. We're blocked in. We're being held hostage by you. We would really like it if you would be fair and be a good neighbor. We didn't want this, but we understand that it may happen. So be a good neighbor. Mitigation agreements need to be made because it has to reduce the seriousness or the painfulness of a situation. So please, think about Winthrop, think about your neighbors. We're really, really good ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Wayne Carroll, 40 Mermaid. Wayne Carroll. Frank Pioppi, 44 Cliff. About 10 more.
Hello, Winthrop. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. As a member of Winthrop for 23 years, raising my family here, this has been a great town. I love this town. We also own a local business called Luigi's, which is in Beachmont. I am probably the most effective small mom and pop business that's next to this proposed casino. And let me tell you, I am not afraid of change. Change is a welcome thing. Suffolk now has not been a good neighbor, they've been a phenomenal neighbor. Many of their patrons have visited my restaurant. Many of the employees have visited my restaurant, and I survive by that. Most of the income I spend is in this town, from restaurants to all kinds of services, including chiropractic. I spend in this town. I welcome the fact that Mohegan Sun has been honest, they've been open, and they've been transparent in everything that I have asked them. It's a welcome change. Do not be afraid. There's 1,000 jobs at risk here, folks. Many of those people come and support this town. We will lose that. We need this project. Thank you.
Sunnyside. Elizabeth Gann. Robert Carroll, 10 Beach Road. Robert Carroll.
Hello. Thanks for this opportunity to speak, and I just wanted to raise a couple of questions that came up. I think we all agree that the presentation was a bit light on details relative to Winthrop, but there were a few details on a slide or two that made me scratch my head, and maybe you did too. And if it didn't, I just wanted to bring those up again. One of the slides talked about 4,000 operating jobs. It didn't specify whether those are full-time jobs. So that was a question that came into my head, and maybe it came into yours. It talked about those jobs being within 15 miles away, yes, and I think we've all hit the traffic issue on those jobs. The other thing is, and averages are funny, but $56,000 per job as an average. And I just sort of wonder how many of the 4,000 potentially part-time jobs will actually be making $56,000. And that was one of the questions I had. So there was a commitment to spending $10,000 in Revere, that's wonderful, and a commitment to spend $50,000 within 15 miles. So if you, again, with these facts, do the math quickly, that leaves $40,000 per year to the other 12 host communities. That's about $3,000 a year, potentially, for Winthrop. Million? So it's million. Okay, so that's not nothing. That's fine. That's not nothing. But I do, yeah. But I do want you to think about that, and whether it's the $3 million or the jobs that all 4,000 jobs obviously are not going to be $56,000 each, and they're not going to all be from Winthrop. I just hope you take that into account when you're working your mitigation package, and thank you for your leadership.
Little scorecard, we've had 17 speakers in 1 hour, so we're doing pretty well. We have 8 left to go, and if we keep up our record, we're about a half hour to go. Lisa Alberghini. Lisa?
Council President, members of the Council, thanks so much for the opportunity to talk with you tonight. My name is Lisa Alberghini. I live at 79 Quincy Ave, and I am strongly opposed to the Mohegan Sun Casino. Let me first say, I'm just delighted and thrilled and uplifted to hear from all of the residents in Winthrop who have come out tonight to voice their opinion. That your comments have been so thoughtful. It allows me to pare mine down, and I will try to do that, I promise. Many studies illustrate the negative impacts that the casinos have on communities, including, we all know these, traffic problems, crime, declining quality of life, we haven't talked much about that, a drain on local businesses, a decrease in property values, we haven't talked about that, among others. And at the same time, there's ample evidence that the promises of job creation and revenue to surrounding communities do not materialize. That adds up to a lose-lose proposition, increased costs and negative impact on Winthrop without the added benefits. On traffic, everyone's talked about traffic, but Mohegan Sun has not taken this seriously. There was not one word in that presentation about the traffic impact specifically in Winthrop. That's an issue. Regarding crime, Chief Delhoney did an extraordinary job talking about that, so I won't again say too much, but the rates of assaults, larcenies, burglaries, robberies, murders, and auto theft in areas surrounding casinos increased significantly, especially over time. According to just one source, the Uniform Crime Reports, between 1996 and 2000, when both Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods were operating, crime in the 5 surrounding communities, like Winthrop, increased more than 21% over pre-casino years, and larceny and aggravated assault were the largest share of that increase. Regarding the quality of life, gambling addiction rates double in communities surrounding casinos, and personal bankruptcies increased by almost 20%. Regarding the financial soundness of their proposal, and this is something we've heard nothing about yet tonight, unfortunately Matt, who knows this best, did have to leave. We've now learned that Mohegan Sun's investor, Brigade Capital, will be the majority owner of the proposed casino. Brigade is a hedge fund with motives and an investment approach that are very contrary to what's best for our town. And you, particularly our town council, should be very, very worried about that. It is unprecedented for a major casino in this country to be majority owned by a hedge fund. I believe our town councilors have an obligation to understand that and the effect that it can have on the promises of revenue, as sparse as they are, that Mohegan Sun is promising to us. Regarding the promises of jobs, revenues, business development, how do low-quality jobs really help our community? That was, as the speaker before me said, $56,000 was an average. What happens when the investor pulls out, if that happens, or the revenues that they're promising aren't paid? Who will visit the Winthrop Arms or La Siesta or De Palmas after being given free meals and the $7 filet mignon at the casinos? Winthrop has been, I think last point here is that Winthrop has, we all have said, been badly mistreated by Mohegan Sun. 2/3 of the people in the city of Revere live further away from the proposed casino than me and my neighbors, and yet Revere is receiving $30 million plus in mitigation, and we've been offered less than $750,000. We know, all of us, it's been said that that is pathetically inadequate and disrespectful. One of the things I find most troubling about that is in the letter where they rejected our proposal, they said that they have reached agreements with 8 of the surrounding 10 communities, and for that reason, we should somehow accept what they've offered us. Those surrounding communities are from 3.5 to 11 miles away from Winthrop. And to suggest that Winthrop is comparable to Salem in its impact is, again, pretty insulting. And as a number of people have pointed out, this is, of course, when they're trying to show their best side in order to win the competition for a license. As I said to the Gaming Commission last week, Mohegan Sun Son's job is to make money, and I get that, for themselves and their investors. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. Your job, council, and ours is to protect our community. So we have to make sure that we keep Winthrop the great place that it is. We build on our strengths. We want to keep attracting new young families. What we don't need are the problems the casino will bring. And I would urge the council to please register your opposition on behalf of so many of us here tonight with the Mass Gaming Commission by passing a resolution against the casino. And to those of you in the audience, I would also urge you please to join in the effort to repeal the casino law.
Precinct 4. Carol? No. Carol Pacella. Jeff Trinko, Precinct 2. Oh, here's Carol, okay. Thank you.
Good evening, my neighbors, citizens of our town, a town that we all love and enjoy the quality of life that we have here. The gaming industry, big business. We've heard it from Mohegan Sun. Lots of money, many jobs, great benefits. It's an illusion. The benefits are not real. The consequences that are devastating to our community will be real. They're in business, as Lisa just said. Their business is to turn a profit. How do they make their money? It's unlike any other industry with which we're familiar. We're used to industries that manufacture goods, distribute items, produce, sell, provide services that are needed. They make their money when we lose. It's as simple as that. There are not two winners here. There's only one winner, and it's usually the house. They make their money when we lose our money. Their job, and they're very successful at what they do. They're great business people. They're great investors. They're great developers. Their job is to make sure that they win so we can lose. Our interests are in conflict. Our interests are diverse. If their interest is to make profit, our interest is to preserve the quality of life in our community. Let not us be separated from our families, our friends, or our money. It is ironic, as I heard the presentation, that they're touting that they will make millions of dollars, and yet they offered our town a meager $745,000 in mitigation. When I did the math on this, if we have 18,000 residents in our town, that comes to $40 per person. Are you willing to sell this town out for $40? That's not even a pair of sneakers for your children in school. I dare say that that is too important for us to sell out for such a 30 pieces of silver. I've also heard Mohegan Sun say that we will not be negatively impacted, and therefore we don't deserve mitigation money. They've thrown us a few crumbs, and they've expected us to be quiet. We will not remain silent in this community. I am disappointed that the legislation that our legislators allowed to pass disenfranchised Winthrop. We should have had a vote. If our representatives cared about our opinion, they would have fought in that legislature to give us a vote. We are a mile in either sides of our town away from that casino. We are closer than most of Revere to that casino, and we didn't have a say. Why not? Let's ask those questions. Why not? Our voices have been silenced through the vote. Let them not be silenced in clamoring I don't agree that this is a done deal. I think we can clamor. I want everyone here who's opposed to this casino to write to your town councilors, flood them with letters so they take action and put a resolution before that gaming commission. I also ask you to write to the Gaming Commission. Go to the website, massgamingcommission.com, to Chairman Crosby and to all of those members, and let them know we are opposed as a community within a mile of that casino. A previous speaker said that they don't want to put a casino where it's not wanted. It is not wanted in Winthrop. It's not wanted in East Boston. East Boston has voted. Let's be a good neighbor with East Boston and side with them on this position. I don't want a lot of time here. A partnership with Winthrop businesses, is that a joke? Have you been to a casino? They don't let you out. All the signs say entrance. I haven't seen one sign that says exit in a casino. If they're offering food and drink, our businesses will suffer terribly in this town. And be real. Who's going to leave a casino? They're there to gamble. Are they going to become tourists for Winthrop, that we're going to get all this wonderful business? I think not.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much.
Jeff Greco, Precinct 2.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, members of the council. I come here tonight as a resident of Winthrop. Many of you know I have 5 kids, and I've chose to settle here 10 years ago. I love this community. I intend to stay here till the day I die, as long as the bank allows me to. But that being said, I support this casino. I support this proposal. And I think what we need to look at here is a couple of things. The people of this Commonwealth, through their representatives, and I believe it was in the 70s when I was a kid, there was a big debate about the lottery. And it could have been back in the 60s. I think it was in the 70s, because I remember it during the Ed King days, big debate about the state lottery. We have the most successful lottery in the country. Go down to TNT and look at the Keno that goes on there. Go out and look at the people that buy scratch tickets, the people of this community. Go to our senior center on a monthly basis and hop on the bus that leaves the Winthrop Senior Center to go to Foxwoods and take your Massachusetts dollars and bring them down to Connecticut. You know, and so the debate over gaming is not what the council is charged with under the law. The council is charged under the law with going to the table with Mohegan Sun and negotiating the best agreement that it can get for Winthrop if a casino comes to the Suffolk Downs area. You know, and I think Suffolk Downs and Mohegan Sun have to open up their eyes that there are impacts. I hope you heard the message from the people tonight here that there are impacts on the community. You know, come and drive here in the morning. Mr. Vitagliano did a traffic study back when they were doing the Orient Heights station at one point. You know, you can sit there and you can see the traffic leaving this town. You know, to get out of here in the mornings. There are impacts to this community, so you need to get back to the table. But you, as a council, need to also stop the public nonsense of writing letters to the Gaming Commission personally. I'm opposed to this and beating people up. I've never seen, professionally, I've been involved with plenty of labor negotiations, and I've never seen a situation where people that are charged by law, sitting across from the table, go out and repeatedly knife each other publicly, and then turn and say, but you're not treating me nice. And so if you want to get this done, you have to act responsibly as the negotiating team, both for the town, and Mohegan Sun needs to recognize the fact that there are impacts in this community. So I urge the council to get back to the table, negotiate a package that benefits Winthrop. You know, it's no longer a question about whether or not, we're not here to debate the merits. I think gambling's immoral. I think it's sinful, to be blunt. But I lost that debate when I was 7 years old, and the people of the Commonwealth said we're going to have gaming here. You know, and so that debate is now over. The only question is, how much are we going to get, how much are you going to get for the people of Winthrop to mitigate the negative effects, and how much are you going to make sure gets earmarked to our police department and our fire department, so we don't do what we did with the Massport money, we don't do what we did with the MWRA money, take it, which was purportedly for public safety, and yet not put it towards public safety, put it into the general fund. So I urge you, get back to the table, negotiate a good deal for the town, do us proud. You guys have the capability to do it. Just get there, stop the public sniping, and get back to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turco. Fire Chief Paul Flanagan.
Not the last one, am I?
No.
I'm not here.
That's turned off on purpose, Paul.
How's that? Again, I'm here not to speak for or against, I'm here just to tell you the impacts on our town. I work very closely with Chief Delahanty, Chief Caparelli in Revere, and Chief Dory, who's probably one of the more respected chiefs in Metro Fire. We work very close together. My biggest concern, and I've always talked about it, it's our geographical challenge. We are completely surrounded by water. I don't have communities coming in like so many others do. When I was a kid, and again, a lot of people spoke to how long they've been married, how long they've lived in town. This May, my family will have 150 years on the Winthrop Fire Department. So we've been talking public safety at every Thanksgiving dinner, every Christmas, and the whole thing. And the problem that we're faced with is a lot of you folks have lived here a long time, and your father was promised to take you out to dinner, and well, we can't leave till the track gets out. Or we can't leave till GE's getting out if you used to go to Heck Allen's in Saugus. Well, the problem that we have is with the talk of the casino coming to Suffolk Downs, they're going to bring back world-class racing. And years ago, when we couldn't get out of Winthrop due to Suffolk Downs, that wasn't world-class racing. That was just racing. So again, my concern is, I don't have to talk about numbers, hypothetical numbers. In the last 5 days, my engine has been out of town 4 times. It's been to Revere twice, once to the fatal fire in Boston, and once to Chelsea. The problem that I had the other night when we were in Revere and VFW Parkway, Revere had 3 alarms, Somerville had 3 alarms. There is no help coming to Winthrop. That means our help is coming from Saugus, Medford, Malden, and they have to circumvent the traffic that they're going to mitigate. The problem is, I need some help and I need some funds to stand alone a little bit longer till help gets here. There'll be, once the casino gets rolling, there won't be fireworks on Revere Beach on the 4th of July. It'll be every Saturday night there'll be fireworks on Revere Beach. We all know how it is getting out of Winthrop, their successful sandcastle day. God, if you make that mistake, you can't get out. They're building hotels. It's casino sprawl. We have a new hotel going up at the Orient Heights right by the Madonna Hill. We have one going up on Eastern Avenue in Chelsea. There's a new apartment building just permitted on Revere Beach, and I guess a couple of permits for hotels. That is great for Revere. When Revere has a piece of fire apparatus that drops below 3 firefighters, they put it out of service. They put it out of service, that bumps me up on the running card. Revere Fire does a great job, but this year, I've been to Revere 22 times for less than 15 minutes, which basically states that's a non-fire assist, or mutual aid as we call it. And the reason we're going there is every piece of fire apparatus they have in Revere is tied up. Again, the overdose problem was mentioned tonight, but they're out straight all of the time, which basically says, I can't get any help. So all I ask for the casino is, I go out all the time with 2 firefighters on my pieces of apparatus, and we have a very successful little fire department. When I ask, please don't challenge us any more than we're already challenged. I just ask for the funds to allow us to stand alone for the delay that the help is going to be getting to Winthrop. Thank you.
Paul Caruccio, One Seal Harbor. Paul Caruccio.
Good evening, Town Council, members of Mohegan Sun, and members of the community. I didn't prepare a speech today, which is always a dicey situation, so you'll have to bear with me. But I did have the same opinion of this last week when I spoke at the Boston Convention and waited 8 hours and 15 minutes to give my prepared speech. It's the same opinion that I had back in January when I emailed letters to the Casino Commission. It's the same point I made back in March of 2012 when I wrote in the transcript, and in June of that 2012 when I wrote to the Boston Herald. And that is that there should be no casino at Suffolk Downs until or unless Winthrop has the same status as any host community. I can speak about the impacts, and I can speak about the unique situation that Winthrop is in, but I think those who went before me have done a fine job of that. But until Winthrop has equal status by what any income or revenue stream for the full life of that casino, in any mitigation, there should be no consideration of that. And the other thing that host community status provides a community is the right to vote on it, a binding vote. Well, I understand that Mohegan Sun is not in a position to do that. However, I will request that until or unless we have unanimous approval by every one of the town of Winthrop's town councilors for this project, that this not go forward, because it's only a unanimous approval by the Winthrop Town Council that this community can be represented fairly and evenly, and they are the people who represent the entire community. So I want to say thank you for your attention, and the next person.
John Munson, Lowell Road. John Munson. John, are you in 2 or 5? That road is split. 3. 3. No. You're either in precinct 2 or 5.
I'm in the maze.
Okay.
I'll be brief. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I'm thoroughly impressed with the people that have spoke tonight. I'm a homeowner, I'm a business owner, and I have a family here in Winthrop. I have 2 beautiful kids, and I love this town. It's on the ocean, it's gorgeous, and I think there's momentum in the right direction. We've got a new school coming. We have the middle school and the Cummings and the Fort Banks have already been great. The school systems are getting better. There seems to be momentum in the air here. There's a lot of things going for us. The ferry service finally took off. The beach restoration finally is getting going. There's a great, thriving art community, including the photography scene, Richard Honan. And I'm just glad to be here, and I don't want to see this town go backwards. And I do feel as though that we would directly be impacted, and for Mohegan Sun to say that we aren't going to be impacted at all, no adverse impact, that is an insult, as everyone has said. And as a business owner and a businessman, I would never go into business with someone that has the gall to tell me $0 or $745,000. The fire and the police departments have spoken eloquently tonight, and I think it's clearly in need of more money if this were to come here. And so I'm not a politician, and I don't claim to ever want to be a politician. But if I were in politics, I would find every single possible way to get this deal broken and done. I wouldn't want to get this here at all. But if there is no way to do that, if there's no way to stop them from coming, I would negotiate like hell to get as much money as we need to protect our people, to get our traffic situation mitigated, and to get a lot of money to help things like the addiction problems. The heroin problem is huge right now, as it is. We don't need more addiction problems coming into our town. We need campaigns, we need awareness, we need a lot of things to happen. So please, as potential future business partners, you need to show some respect and have some decency to the people that are here. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Barry, I'm sorry, I can't read your last name. Barry from 97. Barry Kaplowitz?
I passed. I think you've heard enough.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Craig Mail, Precinct 4.
Probably would have been easier the first way. So I just lost my notes, so I'll have to speak without them. I started off with this casino about 2.5 years ago when we had our first meeting. And I stated at the first meeting that I was ambivalent about the casino. I thought it had some good opportunities. A little while after that, I thought the town should have had a vote on it. I proposed a vote for it. Since that period of time, I've changed my thoughts about the casino a tremendous amount. not so much of my own feeling towards casinos, but my feeling of what's happening in this town. I have not been in this town 150 years, but my family has been here nearly 100. They've been involved in small businesses. My mother's been a teacher. My father was on the school committees. I have the same vested interest that everybody else that was nice enough to come here, not just tonight, but to the MWRA a couple of nights ago. It's about time that we're finally taking our own destiny in our own hands, because I said before, and I firmly believe, I don't know that we can trust anybody but ourselves. And we have to put ourselves forward for this. Now I'm going to speak to you gentlemen, and I'm sorry for not knowing each of your names. You made one point when you came up here tonight, and you said, the casino is accessible from Route 1A. And there was a little laughter in the audience. And the most telling part about it is you didn't know why. You had absolutely no reason. Now, I don't know if it's public knowledge or not, but I understand Mr. Tuttle would be leaving you soon, as someone mentioned. And with that, you'll have even less people on your staff that know what we're about. We are in the vortex of your development. We can't go through East Boston. We can't go through Revere. I'm not here to stop your jobs. I'm not here to stop your profit. But until you can get a better understanding of what this means to this town and how you will be impacting and affecting us, and your impact will be as great as the MWRA, as great as the airport, and you will now box us in the third place. And quite frankly, I think that that means that we need a little bit of sensitivity so that you can understand the issues that we are facing here. And the next time you come back and you say something, it shouldn't be because you don't understand it. It's because you understand fully what we're about.
I do have 3 letters from people who were unable to attend tonight. Am I coming through? Yeah. I hate to ask the people in the back of the hall, can you hear me? Because if you can't hear me, you don't know if I'm asking if you can hear me. So, there's a letter from Catherine Stacy, who says she's unable to attend the April 1st council meeting to voice my opposition to the casino. So I'm writing you this email to let you know that I am 100% opposed to having a casino at Suffolk Downs. No amount of money would compensate for the negative impacts that a casino would have on the town of Winthrop and its residents. From April Ray, my husband and I landed in Winthrop, I like that, in 2002 when we were looking to buy a condo and we were priced out of Boston. 12 years, 1 condo and 1 house later, we have grown to love Winthrop. And we are raising our family here. Our oldest son now in kindergarten at the Gorman Fort Banks. I will editorialize that I love to hear of young people moving to Winthrop and loving it and bringing more people in, and we're hearing more and more of those people, and I love it. Okay, enough of my editorial. She truly loves living in Winthrop and would love to stay here long term. This whole casino situation has me worried about that. I'm worried about what's going to change for Winthrop, and I'm worried that if our community changes for the worse as a result of living next to a casino, we'll be stuck due to lower property values. I guess no one really knows how this will affect us for sure, but I have concerns, and I just wanted to thank you and the council for speaking up for us and our residents. Superintendent of Schools John Macero, my reason for, let me skip that. In reading your letter, this is, I'm sorry, a letter that he wrote to Mr. Letteritz. Thank you for the letter regarding Mohegan Sun casinos being proposed by the city of Revere. He's referring to the letter that was delivered to all the residents of Winthrop last Friday. My reason for my email is to introduce myself. My name is John Macero, Superintendent of the Winthrop Public Schools, also a resident of Winthrop for the past 21 years. Before becoming superintendent, I was employed as the principal of the Wayland School in Revere. I have been blessed to work in both Winthrop and now in Revere. Both in Revere and now in Winthrop. In reading your letter, I must confess as to how disappointed I was to see that there was no direct funding in Winthrop allocated for education, especially since Revere will be receiving $2 million annually, as well as a new high school. I understand they are the host city. However, Winthrop will feel the impact on education as well. My question is simple. Why would Winthrop not receive or even be considered for an allocation of funds for education? I am confident that Winthrop will be impacted with additional students, and I'm sure workers would love to live in Winthrop, as it's a great seaside community. I would appreciate if you would address my concerns. That ends the public input. Mr. Roussel, if there's no objection, we did have a sign-in sheet that everybody was supposed to sign. If there's no objection from the council, I'll allow Mr. Roussel. Okay, Steve. Stephen Roussel, precinct?
Number 1.
Okay. Thank you. Steve, it is a 5-minute limit.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I just want to let you know that I love Winthrop. My wife and I, we chose Winthrop to live in. I love this community a lot. I want to thank you for this. I want to thank you for this time. I am for the casino, and the reason why I'm for the casino is that my father grew up in Louisiana, and he grew up in a town where there was nothing. It was a place called Reserve. And my father didn't have a pair of shoes until he went into the military to serve in World War II. So I'm a big proponent of growing business. And one of the things that I have to say is that when you look at the casino, it's going to allow people to get on the economic chain. Okay, I myself, I was a paper boy. I was a dishwasher at an Italian restaurant. I worked myself up. My father was disabled. He fought in 3 wars. So we really didn't have that much funds. We didn't really have that much opportunity, but we had each other. I remember my whole family saying, Steve, you're the guy that we're going to send to college. And that's how I get to college. I just feel that with Mohegan Sun, with Suffolk Downs, it gives people in this area an opportunity to get on that economic ladder. And once you're on that economic ladder, you make the best of it. Now, some people are going to say, "Hey, I want to be a waiter for the rest of my life." That's fine. But I have some people in my life that I grew up with that I like to talk about. First is a guy named Stevie DeMarco who does work at Suffolk Downs. He was gainfully employed. He was a full-time worker, but now he's only working 8 to 16 hours a week. He's living with his folks. If this project were to go through, he would be able to work full-time again. And I would love that for Stephen. I have another friend, his name is Paul. He owned a variety store in East Boston. And he ended up going out of business. He's been out of a job for the last 6 or 7 years. The only opportunity that he has is a project like the Mohegan Sun in Suffolk Downs. I have a nephew who has to go to Waltham. He and his girlfriend have a 2-year-old child. He's got to go to Waltham. He doesn't drive. It takes him an hour and a half to get there, hour and a half to get back. So I think of all these people that are in my life that are not so well off, that didn't get a chance to go to college, that are not professional people. This is going to give them that chance to make something of their life. I'm first generation college in my family. And I just know that when you get a good paying job and you have a mentoring program and you have a training program and you have people around you that care. I can't forget when I was at the convention center when there was a woman who had cancer and she had said that the Suffolk Downs people, Chip Tuttle and Richard Fields, circled the wagons for her, and they actually got her back on her feet. And I didn't forget that. I don't forget now about people that were speaking here who told me about the impacts that Winthrop faces that I didn't see. Okay, there's two ways in, okay? We have the airport, we have the MWRA, and now we're gonna have this. I'm asking the people at Mohegan Sun, I'm asking the people at Suffolk Downs, I'm asking the city council, and I'm asking the state rep, and I'm asking the state senator to get into the room, to keep Winthrop the way it is. The reason why my wife and I moved here
1 minute.
was because it was a nice, quaint, little, quiet neighborhood. That's what my wife and I want. The older my wife and I get, the more we want quiet. I know things are going to change, but I know from working with Suffolk Downs, who's done a great job in the community with the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, anytime that they needed their corporate leadership, anytime they needed their time, their resources, their talent, they were there. I'm hoping that Mohegan Sun will do the same, where they will take a leadership role in this community. He said that he's going to take a leadership role. We're going to hold you to that. I'm hoping that everybody gets into the room and cuts a better deal for us. That's going to be fair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes our speaking portion. Mr. Tuttle is asked to make just a comment on the transportation issue, the traffic issue. If we will not be, what?
And a few other, you know, whatever.
We will not be going back and forth, but if there's no objection, Chip, could you come up and just address that?
Council President Gill, thank you. Everybody, thank you very much for coming here. We appreciate the council accepted we kind of invited ourselves. We asked if we could come and give this presentation. On behalf of Suffolk Downs and our partners at Mohegan Sun, I want to clear up if there's any confusion on a couple of items, including our presentation. We did send that presentation in advance to the town council to review. If people didn't think it was specific enough to Winthrop, our apologies, because we were asked not to negotiate in public and not to get up and talk directly about the mitigation package to avoid public negotiation. We are happy to talk about this stuff in public. We're happy to take any questions. We're happy to do the public's business in public. So if, you know, we'll address that. We appreciate you having us. We appreciate all of the town councilors and the spirit in which they've invited us here, your town manager, both chiefs. I want to thank both chiefs for their comments as well. We look forward to getting back to the table and working with the town. I have been at Suffolk Downs for the better part of the last 20 years. We do consider Winthrop a neighbor. We hope we've been a good neighbor. We've tried to be a good neighbor. The track has been there for 79 years. It's been a big part of the community. Councilor Mail, I think if we looked confused when people snickered about the comments about 1A, it wasn't because we don't know where Route 1A is. In fact, we drive it every day. It was because obviously we have not done a very good job convincing you that the mitigation measures, the $45 to $50 million we're spending, which is designed to improve all sorts of local intersections, including Bennington and Saratoga, where you have to wait to get out every morning to go to Boston or go to Revere, including Boardman Street and that intersection, including 1 and 16, so that people who leave Winthrop and want to get on Route 1 North will be able to drive down Route 16 and avoid Bell Circle and avoid Route 60 and get right on a ramp that will take you up to Route 1 North. All of those things are designed to mitigate the impacts of this development. Mass DOT is looking at those programs. The City of Boston hired an independent expert to validate all those suggestions in those programs. The City of Revere hired an independent expert. So if your morning commute takes you less time as a result, for those who commute in and out of Boston, takes you less time as a result of these improvements, that's the whole idea, okay? So we're happy. I know we're running late on time tonight. We're happy to talk to you more about job opportunities for Winthrop residents, People said that they were skeptical of the business, the impact on local businesses. The whole model that Mohegan Sun is proposing here is supposed to be outward-facing and share the economic benefits of the local community. 200 local businesses have signed up for the loyalty program to be partners with Mohegan Sun, including 10 here in Winthrop. So I think it's important to recognize that we certainly want to mitigate impacts on the town. There seems to be a large group of people here for whom no potential mitigation agreement will ever be acceptable. That's fine, because we actually have, we mentioned eight agreements. We have agreements with communities that think gaming is a good idea and good economic development, and we have agreements with communities that don't, okay? So anyway, on behalf of everybody at Mohegan Sun and Suffolk Downs, we'll come back and answer individual questions. People want to ask questions about anything at all. We're happy to give you our point of view, and we appreciate your attention tonight. We look forward to getting back to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip. Thanks to Chip and Gary for coming tonight, and most of all, thanks to the Winthrop citizens. I think this gave us a great opportunity to have input. We had an opportunity to listen to each other, Mohegan Sun to listen to us, and us to listen to them. And I just need to say that I think we have been encouraged by all of you, and we definitely, as Chip said, we look very much forward to getting back to the table. And we will do our absolute best for the town of Winthrop should this project go forward. Thank you very much for your attendance. I'll take a motion for a recess. Motion for recess, seconded by Councilor Del Vento. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. The council meeting for April 1st, 2014 is now called back to order. We need a motion on the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of March 18th. Motion.
Motion by Councilor Del Vento, seconded by Councilor Barone. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
One abstention.
One abstention, Councilor Lettieri.
Yes.
Committee reports, Councilor Barone.
That old Craig. You're not my type.
I'm sorry, Councilor Boncory. The committee report on the
Rules and Ordinance Committee met on March 24, 2014 at 7:15. Present were myself as chairman, Paul Barone, Nick Del Vento. Also present were Craig Mail and Jim McKenna. Jim McKenna spoke in favor of the new inspectional service bylaw. Craig also spoke in favor. There was a motion to accept the concept of formulating a new chapter in our bylaws, creating a Commissioner of Inspectional Services, and the meeting was recessed until Tuesday, April 1st at 6:30. The meeting adjourned at 7:50. Rules and Ordinance Committee again met this evening, April 1st, 2014 at 6:30. Present were myself as chairman, Paul Barone, and Nick Del Vento. Public comment was given by Gene Maggio, a former town councilor. The bylaw, the new bylaw that had been submitted over the weekend was reviewed, and a motion was made to table it to the next meeting to review some of the wording in it and to review the position of the deputy commissioner, which wasn't in the bylaw when we first got it. It was a motion to table, was by Paul, Paul Barone, seconded by Nick Del Vento. It was a unanimous motion, and we adjourned at 6:45.
Okay, so that's going to not be voted on tonight, obviously. Town Manager's report. Town Manager McKenna.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to announce that I will be introducing at the next council meeting Mr. Albert Legee. He comes to us as the Commissioner of Inspectional Services, and he is due to start May 1st. And he comes prepared to take the Commissioner's exams, and he has 10 years of experience as an inspector of buildings in the city of Chelsea. So we did a thorough background exam on Mr. Legee. We received a lot of insightful comments and very favorable review, and so I'm pleased to have made that appointment, and we'll be presenting him to the council at your meeting on the, I believe it's the 15th. I wanted to bring to the attention of the council that on Saturday, April 26th, at 11 a.m. at the first floor of Town Hall, there will be a memorial dedication of a POW and MIA memorial, a chair, thankfully being donated by the Speaker DeLeo, will be recognized as the POW MIA empty chair for veterans lost in service. And so that'll be an important event for the town. I wanted to update the council that we have received proposals from 3 very well-regarded international firms to study the FEMA appeal process on behalf of 3 communities, which we're joining in on, are Winthrop, Chelsea, and Revere, in looking at saving cost of an appeal. An appeal can cost anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000, and by doing it jointly, we would only pay a third of that expense with Revere and Chelsea. Winthrop having a significant shoreline and therefore more transits to study, but our cost would be roughly $28,000. You know, a far cry from $80,000, which what it cost Rockport to do its appeal. And it's important that we continue to pursue that, because you know, while we've been getting some favorable news out of Washington, D.C. with respect to some of the delays in implementation of the FEMA mapping process and some of the insurance issues, it's still important that we abide by the timelines as we know them to be until they withdraw those maps, and they have not withdrawn those maps. So we need to move forward. And I will be asking the council next meeting for a funding motion, but I wanted to bring to your attention that I received quotes today, and all 3 communities have agreed to hire Woods Hole Group with the assistance of MAPC, who helped us conduct the procurement. The Woods Hole Group also happens to represent the city of Boston, so we're getting some of the benefit of their information regarding Boston Harbor that will help and really keep the expense as low as possible. So I think we're in a good position to move forward with an appeal of the FEMA map. And that's important because if we are successful, it'll reset the maps to the 09 mapping delineation, which will protect many hundreds of homes in this community from seeing significant increases in insurance rates. So I believe it's a wise investment, and I think we're on a good path with a internationally renowned firm to represent this community in that effort. Yes.
Did you say that'll reset to 2009 to the maps?
Yes, it would mean that they would basically go back to the 2009 map line if we're successful.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I understand that we've received correspondence from Winthrop Golf Course today that I'm reviewing and sending to council regarding a complaint that the levee at the Lewis Lake is not being drained sufficiently, and it has had some impact on the golf course. I touched base with Steve Calla today and asked if that claim were true, and he refutes that entirely. And in fact will present a report that will show that they have been managing the level and maintaining an appropriate level of that lake, Lewis Lake, you know, consistent with the history of that lake. There is some degradation of that lake, however. We all know that it's been filled in with flow that's come down, you know, through the course and points beyond, and it is in serious need of dredging. Let's be honest about that. But that's been something that's accumulated over many years, and perhaps even generations, and so it's not been adequately dredged in anyone's memory. So I believe it's resulting now in a condition that certainly has impacted the course, and certainly the swale that I've observed along Veterans Road is about, you know, as non-functioning as you can ever visualize, and is the ground zero for West Nile. It has been for the past 2 years. So it's a public health need. So we're going to have to be aggressive this spring and look for ways to partner with the golf course to find a way to bring a solution to this situation where that swale drains and functions adequately, not just for them, but for the rest of the area, and to see that you know, we bring a plan to the council that's you know, going to help you know, that very serious condition. So stay tuned on that. I hope to have a better report for you in the coming weeks.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yes, Councilor.
2 questions, then. So, from that comment, are there plans to dredge? Is that something that you're looking into? I mean, that's what it needs? Is that something that...
We need to hire a professional you know, geologist and hydrogeologist, actually, to help us understand what the remedies are. I can only, and the rest of us in town can just play guesswork at this, but we believe that the water levels of the lake have, you know, exceeded significantly, you know, such that there's no capacity in the lake, that it needs to function much more, you know, appropriately. It's not about whether the level has been, you know, or the gate has been manipulated. It's really that the lake, it's been degraded. Its capacity has been diminished so much over time that it's not serving the function it's supposed to serve. As well as, you know, up the line with the drainage along Veterans Road. It's standing water. You can go there and look at it, and it's a dump. It's an abomination, actually. I think it's horrendous, the condition of what we see there. So it needs to be addressed. Okay, it's one of the 2 swales of the town that basically are drained from Highland down into, you know, and out through the bay area, and it needs to function just like we did here at Ingleside. We made improvements, and I think you all agree that we had to spend money, but the improvements have been witnessed, you know, by all of us in terms of the lack of standing water and puddling here that had been existing for generations. The same thing has to be done at this location on Veterans Road.
And my other question is, I was talking to some of the construction people over at the Temple project, and I understand they have a lot of really, really good soil there that I think they're willing to give to the Winthrop Golf Club to fill in some areas that are underwater. Is that something that we can take advantage of?
You know, it's appropriate, but they have to do it under the conduct of a notice of intent and the instructions of an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission.
Who has to do that, the golf club?
Yes, they have to file. There's very serious, you know, observance of issues going on there. That entire golf course is a wetland.
Right, but I mean, this dirt can help.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It can help them a lot, and I think it's...
But they can't put it down unless they are under an order of conditions to do it.
Okay, so
the other issue with that dirt is the order of conditions on that job is that the dirt has to be taken out of town. Any dirt that's removed from the Temple project, the order of conditions from the Conservation Commission says that it has to be removed from town.
But and where does it go?
They have to dispose of it somewhere else.
That's only under the
We're not sure if it's hazardous or not.
They're not, the land hasn't been, the dirt hasn't been tested to find out if it was hazardous material. Therefore, the Conservation Commission, in their conditions, order of conditions to allow the Temple to build, said that, and that's not uncommon, that any dirt and fill that's removed from the site, they can recycle it on the site, but if it's removed from the site, it has to go out of town.
And what if it's not contaminated? Is there any chance of bringing it back in?
Well, I guess the Conservation Commission could change their order of conditions. But
you have to go to conservation to...
Right, because conservation is because of where it is, and then because of where they want to put it. Now, to put it across, even if they want to put it anywhere in Winthrop, they would have, it's against their order of conditions. But now they not only have to get approval to use it in town and not remove it from town, they have to get conservation approval to put it on the conservation land of, so it's not an easy swap.
Okay.
Councilor Barone.
Yes, I have a question for the town manager, please. Mr. Legee has been appointed as Commissioner of Inspectional Services. I would assume that you're going to distribute his resume to us before the next meeting,
Sure.
so we can take a look at it. And I'm sure he's a fine pick. Just want to see it. Thank you.
Any further?
Just,
Great. Councilor Mayo.
Was that NOI on the temple project because of bad soil, or it was just a general, I think it was just a general condition they gave, there was no testing on it.
That's right, it was undetermined.
It was undetermined, but they
Because
would
it was
have to, yeah, they would have to file because they are going into a wetlands.
Right, they would have to file to put it across the street, but they would also have to, get a waiver from the Concom to not have it in town at all.
But it would just be a different, it would become part of the new things there, the new
Okay,
regulations.
any further questions? If not, moving on to old business. Councilor Boncour. I think you just wanted to not do anything with that at this point, right?
Right, we tabled it again.
Okay, so that's on hold.
It's on hold.
Councilor Boyage.
No, and Councilor Varone we had tabled it because he was concerned about the motion to draft a letter and what that might do to our status negotiations and whatnot. And I think that's an excellent idea, and I would propose that we send the motion to be evaluated by our legal counsel, and then, but I'd also propose that whatever the legal counsel's opinion is, that we make that public so that our citizens can be aware of the reasons we may or may not want to draft that letter, but coming from our counsel opinion, not just because we said it wasn't in our best interest.
May I suggest that we don't make that a second part of the motion, that we just go ahead and refer it to the town council for
Yes.
advice? Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So do we have a motion to refer the draft letter to the Supreme Judicial Court to our town council?
Can I make that motion or no?
You may. That's what
I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Councilor Barone. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Motion to amend the legal fund appropriation.
Council President?
Yes.
If we could, Council.
Pardon me?
Just if we can go back for a second,
Yeah.
Council.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Have we
Pardon me?
seen that letter?
What letter?
The one that you're talking about?
No, there is no letter yet.
There is none.
If we leave it right on the top. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Any other questions?
to us, no matter what.
Okay, the motion from the town council, I move to amend the motion of February 13, 2014, that the following amounts be appropriated for the purposes of paying the balance of legal judgment rendered against the town in accordance with the final schedule of the indenture as proposed by our town attorneys. Fund 582, $3,343.81, Special Revenue Legal Fund. Fund 674, $58,917.92, Special Revenue Council Reserve Fund. Fund 710, $7,738.27, Special Revenue Workers' Compensation. Fund 932, $95,267.49, Special Revenue Stabilization Fund. And furthermore, to reimburse any insurance reimbursements to the town's General Stabilization Fund 932, or take any action relative thereto. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Vice President Del Vento, seconded by?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Sanford. I'm having difficulty seeing here. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Town Manager, amending, I'm just confused, we're just changing the appropriate, are we?
Changing the amounts.
Yeah,
Because we already put money in these accounts.
Let me just give a little bit of background. We've been in negotiation with our insurance companies. They have agreed to compensate further, and so we made adjustments in our line items to balance out just what we need to compensate, and we retained as much as we could in the stabilization fund as possible. So we realigned our numbers so that only the stabilization fund was affected as least as possible, if that makes sense. We wanted to make sure that We were only paying what was necessary, and that our stabilization fund, our general stabilization fund, was not withdrawn from as significant as last motion required.
I think my question is, it's the lower amounts that we already authorized? So
Yeah, they're
payments
below
to be
what
made-
you already authorized.
These are cleanup motions, and they don't need to be, the payments can be made without these motions being in place.
That's right. Well, we felt that because they're from specific revenue funds, that a belts and suspenders vote from the council was appropriate, just so that we know what accounts are being affected. You have advertised these, you have already appropriated funds. We're just doing the housekeeping of making sure that the final numbers are reflected in a vote.
I'm just wondering, do we have to re-advertise the two,
No.
the over 25?
No, we don't believe we have to re-advertise. These are lesser amounts with the same purpose.
Any further discussion on that?
Question on the motion, in terms of putting further reimbursements into the general stabilization fund, why is it going there and not somewhere else?
For housekeeping reasons, we wanted it just to be clear that any reimbursements that come in are making that one fund whole as best we can. It serves the most purpose in terms of all of our financials to report that as high as we can.
Fair enough.
Any further discussion on the motion? Not? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Councilor Mayle.
In light of the time, does anybody have a problem pushing this off till next week?
No problem. Motion postponed.
And can I also make, because I went through the water rate rules, are we under some obligation to get that done tonight,
No,
Jim?
we're not. It's going to refer.
I don't think it's a 2-minute thing.
It's
No, it's going to
Refer
refer.
to
There has
rules.
to be a couple of changes.
Has to go to rules?
Yeah.
So I'll handle my questions through rules.
Great.
Well, let's
If
make
there's
a
no-
motion to send it to rules.
Well,
If there's no objection, I'm going to send it to the rules.
well, you need a motion or any of that?
I don't really, but let's do it. Yeah, all right. You want a motion, Council?
Whose is it?
Yours.
A motion to move the waterway and public landing rules and regulations to the Rules Committee for Councilor Boncour's expert.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second
By Council Barone.
Barone. Barone.
Mayo.
That's the motion by Councilor Mayell, seconded by Councilor Barone.
Getting late.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
We may have to stop this child.
Public comment. Go ahead.
Joseph Fong, Corey. I just want to say that I was very proud of the citizens of Winthrop, as I'm sure that anyone, I'm sure you were all very proud
Yes.
of the citizens today. And I just urge the council, you know, you are charged under the law of the Commonwealth to negotiate on this package. And probably the only law I can remember that charges the city council with the right to negotiate, the legislature relinquish that right to you. And I just urge you all to make these citizens proud. Go to that table with a clear head now and go to that negotiating table and do the best you possibly can for these people. 'Cause, I mean, they so deserve it, especially after tonight. It's been a great week for Winthrop, or a great couple of weeks with the MWRA project. Councilor Craig Mel and I were talking about just in the back of the room, and this issue. And you guys have a great opportunity to be a profile and courage as councilors to make these people very, proud, as you were of them tonight. So good luck.
Thank you. Thanks for your support. Appreciate it. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to bring to the council's attention, the public's attention, a fundraiser by the Winthrop Police Explorers on May 9th at 7 p.m. at the College Park Yacht Club. It's dueling pianos put on by Lieutenant Scarper and Sergeant Rogers. All the donations will go to sponsor their summertime Explorer trip and conference in Indiana. That's all self-paid by the Explorer Post. No public funds have ever been used, and their hope is that the public funds will never have to be used by their fundraising efforts. I also wanted to bring it to your attention, the DA's office sent out a press release late this afternoon. 25 additional drug dealers have been arrested and a regional sweep with Revere, Chelsea, Winthrop, and the state police. Our detectives did participate in that sweep and in those investigations. And then additionally, 2 of our detectives have been trained in the drug court procedures at the request of the East Boston Court. And they'll participate in the drug court venues every other Tuesday, and hopefully more people will be rehabilitated through the use of the drug court and monitor them more closely. It's a very successful effort throughout the state. Patrick and Speaker DeLeo have been funding those drug courts, additional funding this year. So that's all I have. Thank you.
To Kel? Go ahead, Kel. Councilor Kel.
That's 7 p.m. Cottage Park Golf Club. Tickets can be purchased through Lieutenant Scarborough, Sergeant Rogers, Steve Rogers at the police station. Their emails on our website. So I understand tickets are going quick, and they do expect to sell out.
Councilor Stanton?
I didn't realize that Sergeant Rogers and Lieutenant Scarborough played the piano, so it's going to be really great.
Yeah.
Yes, Lieutenant Scarborough can do just about anything.
Speaking of pride in our community, Chief, I commend you and your team for your regional efforts on the that you talked about.
Thank you. And those efforts were made possible by the funding that we've received. Last funding cycle, we did fund a detective that was going to work regionally, and that's paid off. So thank you.
And I also am very happy that we have our school resource officer after the news what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks on what's happening in schools. And she's doing a great job, and I'm very happy that the council saw fit to do that as a quick thing.
A great asset. It's taken a lot off my desk.
Thank you. We have Judy Van Kumen has her Uplift Yourself with Laughter. It's on at the Casa Lucia restaurant on April 26th. And then an item close to my heart is April is Lighted Up Blue for the kids with autism. My grandson Riley, we've been blessed with Riley with his autism. And we have our blue lights. If you look at the back of the cafeteria here today, you'll see the blue lights in the windows. They're available at the coming school, and I'd love to see Winthrop lighted up blue. We're going to Stoneham next Sunday to see that they light up the whole common with the lighted up blue. And I will say the Gills are kind of in charge of that light up, not the Winthrop Gills.
The lights aren't going to go out like they did tonight, right?
I hope not. Well, the lights went out down at the senior center one night, and Paul fixed them. Remember that, Paul?
There you go.
Okay. Do I have a motion for? Motion for. One more. Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't get your paycheck?
We said how proud we were of our Chief Delahanty, but our Chief Flanagan, to me, was the most powerful speaker.
Oh, you were great,
Chief
Paul.
Delahanty.
Great job.
Thank you so much for what he said, because it is so true. And I saw them, I watched them, they were listening. Now, whether they heard us, I couldn't say. They were listening to us, and I think you all did a fabulous job, and I'm proud of you guys. So, thank you.
We've all been approached tonight by the power to be the first time that we've been approached, so I guess that's
Good. No, I appreciate it as well as Councilor Calder, and I think that they heard everybody tonight. I think that the message was clear. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I just wanted to commend just last Friday was the Spread the Word, to End the Word for,
yes.
And it was the first time that I think it was a really student-run and directed time, and they had both the entire high school involved as well as going to the middle school, and is really, the mentors really developed it and led that. And I think it's really exciting to see that they're involving the younger community, the younger citizens as well in the middle school, and really trying to get that started at a younger age. And I think that between that and the autism awareness, I commend all of the things that have been addressed to it.
Thank you, Council. Is there any further comment? If not?
Congratulations to Tim Gordon, our Chief Financial Officer, who in his town of Holbrook was the #1 vote getter, my understanding, for his selectman race.
His re-election, yes.
Very good. Yeah. Kudos to him. We all know how tough that can be.
Any further comment? Yeah.
I don't, actually.
If not, motion? Please. Motion made by Vice President Del Vento for adjournment. Do I have a second?
Please.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Sanford. Is there any discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen and lady.